G'day guys, Ranger Tony here, back with something new. Now, you see my channel, you see my streams, you know that I've been asked about this game and I said I really wasn't into it. I've changed my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind, aren't I? I secretly have been playing a little bit of Pathfinder Kingmaker offline over the last few days. And I got in the mood and I was going, let's have another look at Black Geyser. And so I went to the store page, I went to a wiki, I read a bit of stuff, I went to the website for the game. And I think I had it wrong. I was thinking that the whole game was going to sort of start in this world of darkness. And it might, but because I'm over games where it's particularly, dark. I technically, in my game list, I have some pretty dark games. The Darkest Dungeon is one pretty good example of that. But even, 7 Days to Die, pretty dark for what it is. And I thought, I'm over that sort of stuff. I don't like those sorts of games. I want a game where I can be the hero. I've said this before in all of my streams and videos. I prefer the game where I can be the hero, right? And so I'm like, I don't know. And then I thought about it again and I went, but hang on a sec. Maybe that is the point of this game. You are to be the hero. You are to defeat the powers of greed and overcome the darkness, overcome the blackness. I thought, okay, well, let's give it a try. The mechanics are going to be a little bit different from other games because they've introduced some new mechanics. And as you can see here, I have literally played this for 1 minute. I started the game and I went into the settings, and that's it. So this is going to be completely new, and I don't know how much we'll get through of the game because I want to spend a fair bit of my time from right now looking at the character creations, looking at the classes, and trying to make some assumptions about the things we can and cannot do with some of these classes. Now, what class am I going to pick? I don't know is the official answer. If I don't really get sucked in by anything, it'll be a ranger, of course. But I have had a look on the wiki, the Extra Life or whatever it's called wiki. The problem is none of the wikis that I have found, there are a couple, have much in the way of actual concrete information. Like most of the pages are only half complete. There's not a lot of information. So we're going to have to pick up a lot of it as we play. But the other thing to mention is I have definitely been in a spellcaster, magic user, mage, wizard, sorcerer, whatever you want to call it. I've been in that sort of mood lately. So there are 3 or 4 spellcasting variants in this game that I'm aware of. I'll have a look at all of those. If one of them really jumps out at me, we might do that. But ultimately, this is really just a first look to get an idea for the game. I might complete it. I don't know. I've never completed a game like this on the first playthrough, so, I don't know. But let's dive on in. Let's press that play button, get the game going, and see what it's like, because I have literally not even got past the menu screen. All I've done is load settings. This is as far as I have gone in this game. Choose a character below and customize it or create one from scratch. So there is a human necromancer. She is trained to use the corrosive bolt spell. I don't know what those symbols are, and they're not giving me any mouse over, so that's a little bit annoying. That's Varley, the human necromancer. Okay, so some of the classes here I feel are very, from what I've seen in the wikis, like the Dwarf Highlander. Highlander equals Barbarian. Templar equals Paladin. Paladin. Why do I say Paladin? Paladin. So, yeah, we got a Dwarf Highlander / Barbarian. And he's trained to fight with bludgeoning weapons. So that's important because dwarves get a bonus to bludgeoning weapons from what I have seen. We have a human Templar. Natural leader, that's what you expect from a paladin. We have an elf ranger. We have a human fighter. We have a human swindler. We have a Rillo shaman. And a Feldegug winter mage. I'm definitely going to go create new because I want to create a new character. So we're going to look at all the different options. So 2 new races here, Feldegug and Rillo or Rillan or whatever it is. So humans get a -1 to maximum supernatural, which is interesting. So supernatural, my understanding is supernatural is like your ability to use magic. And naturally, there's no difference between male and female. There should never be differences between male and female in these sorts of games, but historically, there have been some. Humans were once a united tribe that roamed Yerangol for generations. The dark goddess of greed, Zornilsa, infected their hearts slowly with greed, avarice, and jealousy. So I'm assuming Zornilsa is the main enemy in this game because the game is against greed. The single tribe of man became many as they turned on one another. They warred for resources and land, forgetting their roots. Their bonds were broken and their old alliances splintered. Humans come in many different shapes and colors and can be found all over Yerangol. They are natural farmers working the land as an artist works clay. Humans' versatility mean they can fill virtually any role. That's the other thing. Races can't take all classes.
Breaking rock or breaking skulls. Same to me.
Okay. The devil god Hrothgar was angry over the creation of the elves and the threat they represented to his plans to throw the world into darkness. He set an incubus to impregnate elven women in an effort... Wow. Oh, I suppose incubus and succubus. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. In an effort to steal the essence that lies within their wombs. The elven mothers despaired, but the green goddess told her daughters to seek the first waters of Yerangol. They did so, but were trapped in a stone cabin when Hrothgar sent demons to destroy them. The children survived the attack, but their mothers died. Men in the mountains fed the babies and raised them as their own, but the elven progeny was stunted and hairy. The children, now known as dwarves, grew and prospered, sharing the love of nature from their elven parents, but began to exhibit a preference for the depths of the world. Dwarves are very materialistic, but have a strong connection to clan and family. They are stout and powerfully built, well suited to exploring the natural tunnels that form deep in the ground. Now, saying that they're materialistic, that's almost another word for greedy. So I don't know how that's going to work. So they can't be necromancers, winter mages, spell weavers, or convokers. That is all of the spellcasting, wizard sort of classes. They can't be druids or templars, which are most, I think, of the clerical classes. They can't be a ranger, which is really annoying because I like the idea of dwarven rangers, particularly because they are also supposed to be sharing some of the love of the environment of their elven ancestors. +1 to physique, -2 to charisma, -1 to supernatural, 25% poison and acid resistance, 20% resistance to depressive, 15% resistance to pulse and blow, 12% damage with war clubs and hammers, 12% damage with battle axes, 9% damage with slings and fistables. I looked it up. Fistables are sling staves. Okay.
My blade is sure, my arrow true.
As the tribes of men fell to greed and the world was spoiled, the green goddess wept. The god king allowed Tilandia to select a few tribes of man, those least affected by greed, to be her vassals in Isilmarald. Tilandia chose 11 tribes of men to claim as her own. These 11 tribes were to become known as elves as time passed. Elves share a special connection with nature, feeling an inherent connection to all natural things. Their generations apart from men... Excuse me, talking so much. Their generations apart from men have changed them physically. Their narrow frames allow them to move faster and quieter than men. Their ears grew pointed to better pick out distant or small sounds. The elves tend to be xenophobic and haughty towards other races due to their chosen status imparted by Tilandia. +1 to dex, -2 to physical, +15 to bows and arrows, +10 damage with weapons made of wood. I would almost like to know if that was cumulative, because technically bows and arrows, arrows are not necessarily entirely wood, but 25% resistant to depressive. This has been the thing that worries me the most, is this depressive mechanic. I don't know whether you get like depressed as in anxiety and depression, or whether depressive means something else in this. +15% resistance to illusion and manipulation, -15% resistance to pulse and blow. So that are the elves. They can't be shamans and they can't be Templars. Okay, Templars are maybe a little bit like the Inquisitors from Pathfinder? Don't know, we'll have a look.
My blade is sure, my arrow true.
The Feldagug were once elven tribes who lived close to the north. The demigod Dargelmir grew jealous over the love the elves showed for Tilandia and imprisoned a number of elven tribes in the snowy cold north. He would forge his own race and command them as he saw fit, but the elves were first a creation of the God King and the Green Goddess, and as they changed to survive in the north, they also realized the strength they would need to be free. Dargelmir eventually realized his mistake and allowed his creation to rule themselves and commanded them to form 6 tribes. Drawing from the strength granted by their cold imprisonment and their god and goddess, they rebelled against their demigod. Feldagug are similar to elves, but much paler. They are resistant to hard environments, who most would consider unlivable, while resistance to a hard environment, who most would consider unlivable. They are rarely seen outside of their snowy northern homelands, and most other races are very distrustful of them. Can't be shamans or Templars, just like the elves. +1 to int, -1 to charisma, -1 to physical, +1 to supernatural, so they make pretty good mages. 30% cold resistance, 10% resistance to arousal, 5% resistance to depressive, and -10% resistance to pulse and blow. And then finally we have the Rillo.
Serves where violence will not.
Travelers, traders, and alchemists from the Eastern Empire, the Rillo are a child race of a powerful jinn called Elnuator. Their homeland is shrouded in mystery, so few outside the Rillo themselves know much about them. What is known is that they are seekers of pleasure and experience, consummate traders, and nomadic caverniers. Rillo are large, physically imposing race who bear a passing resemblance to elephants. They eschew religion and favour displays of wealth, and they have a natural talent for brewing and drying. They can't be rangers, Templars, or winter mages. Now hang on a sec. They eschew religion. Templar is the only one of those that said that is religious. They can still be clerics, druids, and that third one, the one that's basically paladin. +2 to physique, -2 to dexterity, +3 to starting, brewing, and drying, +20% resistant to heat, -20% resistant to cold, -10% resistant to illusion and manipulation. Okay, not entirely sure the race I'm going to pick, but it makes more sense to select human at the start because humans can be every class. So let's have a look at the class. So here are the list. Fighter, Cleric, Convoker, Druid. Sorry, Cleric, Convoker, Druid, Fighter, Highlander, Necromancer, Ranger, Shaman, Spellweaver, Swindler, Templar, Thief, and Winter Mage. Now, if you group those together, you have Fighter, Highlander, Ranger, I think, are the three, like, fighter classes. You have Cleric, Druid, Shaman, and Templar are the clericals, and then you have Convoker, Necromancer, Spellweaver, and Winter Mage, which are the mages, and then you have Swindler and Thief. I don't think I've missed anything there. Let's have a look at the Cleric first.
Guides me in all things.
So, priests of the faith who have taken up arms to better serve their god, while not as combat-oriented as a Templar, they can serve in other ways. Their faith to a deity allows them to wield magical powers that can help them serve their team or hurt their foes. They are first and foremost servants of the god, and they harness their faith. You can multi-class. I don't know how many classes you can add. Looks like it's just 2. Up to 2 additional. Oh, add more. So it can be 3. I was wondering if you could pick like every class and then just never level up. That would be bizarre. But okay, you can be up to 3 classes at once. I don't know that I would want to do that. You know me, well, you may or may not know me, but I'm very much a purist as far as class goes. I pick a class and I stay as that. They can't wear heavy armor. They can wear robes, light armor, or medium armor, which I would assume if they can't wear heavy armor, they could wear all the rest of those. But I suppose they need to spell it out. They can wield slings and fistaballs, throwing weapons, small blades, rods, and staves. So small blades, rods, and staves, not blunt. No blunt stuff. Okay. That's interesting. I'm wondering what is classed as a small blade, if they have daggers and short swords and like things like sickles are small blades, or whether it's really just dagger there. Because otherwise it sounds like rods and staves are the main melee weapons, and then you've got to wonder, are rods magical or are they just like a light mace type of thing? Because staves could be quarterstaves as well as magical staves. So we'll have to see. It doesn't say anything about shields. So it's unclear if I could use a shield with this. I'm going to move on, because then we're going to back and we're going to look at each class. So let's see here. The physique displays a character's overall physical build and state. A character's values in physique modifies their damage dealt with physical attacks, their maximum health value, so you don't have constitution anymore, their ability to evade incoming attacks through blocking, and their carrying capacity. Their dexterity is your agility, modifies aim and accuracy, and their chance to evade attacks through dodging and parrying. Makes a lot of sense. Intelligence is your ability to think, plan, and use logic. Intelligence modifies their efficiency with various spells and the skills that depend on one's mental ability to be performed. Okay. Focus displays a character's overall mental strength, wisdom, or some other games have like a will stat. Focus modifies aim and accuracy. So dexterity and focus. So this is seeming a little bit like, well, we'll keep going, but at first glance, it's seeming a little bit like the Pillars games, where you had multiple stats that would affect the same things. And Focus modifies aim and accuracy values, their ability to evade incoming attacks through dodging and blocking, and reduces the chances of being interrupted by incoming damage. Okay, so they're saying if you focus, you're concentrating so that you can notice that you need to dodge. Okay, so that's part of that, and dexterity are very important for dodging out of the way. Okay? I wonder if there is a sort of percentage that there is, is it 50-50, or is like 25% of focus and 75% of dex is what you get for dodge? I don't know. Charisma is your natural aptitude to compel, attract, and influence others. Modifies bargaining and persuasion skill and various class skills. And then supernatural. Supernatural displays a feature of a character that elevates them above ordinary creatures. The value of supernatural increases a character's base health, okay, resistant values against various forms of damage, enables further special abilities for warriors and outlaws, and increases the number of elevated energy slots for wizards and priests. So warriors and outlaws. Warriors are the fighter classes, fighter, Highlander, Ranger, and the outlaws are the thief classes, the swindler and the rogue, or whatever the other one was. Okay, so it sounds like everyone wants a bit of supernatural, no matter what. And it's actually, if you can add points later, it probably sounds like it's a good idea to add some supernatural to your build every now and then to help add more of these special abilities later on that you might not be able to get, because you might not get them if you don't add them later on. Let's go allocate. So we've got 4 physique, 4 dex, 4 int, 6 focus, and 4 charisma as a cleric. If I go allocate, okay, it's given us mostly focus with 3 points in supernatural, 8 in charisma, 10 in focus, 8 for intelligence, 8 for dex, 8 for physique, and then resistance of heat, cold, and poison and acid. It's going to give us 5 for each. Yeah, I sort of figured that might. Skills. We have only 1 point. 1 point in each of the. Okay, so in general, we already have a single point in brewing and drying. We can add learning and research. It offers the ability to brewing and drying. Well, I should start at the top, I guess. Bargaining and persuasion. Each point of charisma increases the skill by 1.5%. Each point of intelligence increases this skill by 0.5%. Okay, let me probably do I'll say what I'm thinking here. Each point of charisma doesn't improve the skill by 1.5%. I'm gonna say it adds 1.5 to the percentage of the skill, because it would mean if it adds 1.5% of what? Of the existing skill value, that would make it very, like, you'd get very little effect early on, and then later on you would get slowly more and more. So I think it adds 1.5% to the skill. It says at the moment my total is 24. And I'm assuming if I put 1 point into here, it'll now show, 28. So, yes, it's not increasing the skill by 4%, it's adding 4% to, it's adding 4 to the percentage value of the skill. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably going to read it that way anyway, but I looked at it and went, hang on, that wording is a little unclear. So bargaining and persuasion helps you to reach prices with vendors and unlocks options in dialogue. I pretty much knew that, and I feel for the main character, bargaining and persuasion type skills are very important in the main character in any of these sorts of games. Unless, like, I didn't... Okay, Pathfinder Kingmaker, I never went down that route very often. If I had a build which had a character that was using had a lot of charisma already, so sorcerers, for example, have to have charisma as their main stat rather than intelligence. In that case, sometimes I put points into charisma, but you have Lindsay, the halfling bard, and bards are great at bargaining and persuasion. So as long as she was in my party, which I always kept her in my party, then she would be the one that would make those checks for me and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But you just don't know in a lot of these games if you're going to have that in your party. So as of right now, I would be putting a point into that for any build that I did. But later on, we might find that there's a companion that can join us that has really good bargaining and persuasion, and it would feel wasted on us because their ability can be used instead of ours in probably 95% of cases. And it might only be really early game before that companion joined us that we have a disadvantage. So we'll continue on. Learning and research. The ability to read various text scrolls and recipes. Scrolls can be cast or recorded into spell books, while recipes can be learned and added to the compendium. Each point of intelligence increases this skill by 1.5. Each point of focus increases this skill by 0.5. Each point of learning and research increases this by 4. So that's pretty standard. Brewing and drying offers the ability to craft potions and powders from various ingredients collected throughout Yearngirl. Potions can mostly be consumed for a set positive effect or healing, while powders can be thrown at or planted on enemies for a set of negative effects or damage. Crafting potions and powders from advanced ingredients or at higher heat levels will require investing some points into this skill. I tend not to use this skill a lot in games. If you've seen me play my Skyrim and stuff, I almost never do alchemy anymore. I did when I first started the game, but I don't see a lot in it. Class specific. So yeah, if I was doing it here, I would be taking the point in bargaining and persuasion. I'm not going to be playing as a cleric, so we're going to be backing out of this in a minute. I want to just see each of the classes. I want to go all the way to finalize here with this one, and then we'll go back and we'll go through each of the classes and see what sort of options there are and start getting some ideas going in my head. And then if I don't have anything that jumps out at me and says, you're definitely doing this, then we'll go to the default ranger. Unless I look at the ranger and go, this is garbage, I'm not going to play it. The ranger, that is, not the game. Class specific. So you only get one, well, you've already got 1 point in pray and 1 point in abolish curses. And I'm assuming people aren't just listening to this, but you've already got 1 point in bargain and persuasion as a cleric and 1 point in brewing and drying. It'll be interesting to see if any of these, well, I'm assuming they will, but they should change as you go through different classes. Anyway, class specific, we have theology. So the skill is inactive until a point is invested in it, and it really just only enables additional dialogue choices themed around faith. Right. So charisma increases it by 1.5, focus increases it by 0.5, and you get 4 points again as per normal. 10 to wounds offers the ability to heal party members' injuries during a rest. Skill increases the base amount of health regained by all group members during resting at all locations. Multiple characters can take this skill to increase its effect. Inactive until a skill point is invested in it. Focus is 1 point. Oh, not 1.5. Focus is only 1 point, and intelligence and physique are 0.5 each. So there's basically 3 attributes into that, and you add 4 points when you add to that. So currently we've got a total of 15 in that, but we actually don't because we haven't taken a point in that. To me, that would be where, as a cleric, I would be putting my first point, because you really want to make sure that you're healing your characters as much as possible during rest. And while you may or may not have companions helping you with that. That is definitely something that would be nice. Pray lets the clerics talk to their deity. All clerics only worship Alnaris, the God King. That's interesting. You don't have a choice of deity as a cleric. The skill will impart one of various boons to the user when selected before rest. However, it is up to Alnarius to decide the exact nature of it. This skill is inactive until a point is invested. 1 point from charisma, 0.5 from focus, and from intelligence. Okay. That does sound useful, and you get it to start with, so you don't have to worry. Abolish curses. Offer the ability to purify magical items that are otherwise cursed. That's a really nice feature. There's a lot of games where you do not get that ability unless you spend a ton of money or you get to a significantly high enough level to be able to remove a curse. So when cursed items offer some negative effects in turn for the powerful advantage they give, purified items will only add positive effects to their wearer. The skill is inactive until a point is invested, and focus gives 1.5, intelligence gives 0.5. Currently we're set to 29%. I'm going to guess, my first instinct is that you might only be allowed to attempt to remove the curse from an item, to abolish a curse, like once per item per level. I don't think you can just sit there and spam it until you successfully make the roll. That would be my guess, but we could be wrong. We could be wrong. Weapons. Slings and fustables. Increases the user's aim and accuracy. Slings are very fast weapons, while fustables are fast. Bullets mostly deal pulse and blow damage. Each point of slings and fustables increase their skill by 6.6%. Throwing. Throwing increases aim and accuracy. That's what that one did as well. Yeah, so you don't increase damage, you only increase accuracy. Throwing weapons are very fast, dealing mostly slashing and stabbing. So you can't throw a stone. Okay, that's fine. Small blades. Accuracy. Okay, so daggers are very fast weapons, dealing mostly stabbing damage, while short swords are fast and deal mostly slashing. That is really good. I am so sick of short swords being considered purely stabbing weapons, like a piercing weapon in games. I feel they are, and it comes from the fact that a lot of, historically people said, well, the gladius, which was the Roman sword that was used in the Roman Empire, was considered a short sword by comparison to the medieval longsword. And the way that one of the most effective ways that the centurions used to use the gladius was stabbing their opponents from in a shield wall, where they would just tilt the shield a little bit and stab out through the blade. But that doesn't mean it wasn't used for slashing. It had a very long and good edge. It could have been just as effective, and probably most of the time was just as effective as a slashing weapon as it was a stabbing weapon. And the fact of the matter is that the most effective attack that most people ever did with longswords was a thrust. Thrusting is by far the most effective way to use those weapons. But let me not rant too much about my feelings on weapons in these games. Okay, so we know that there's daggers and short swords. So short swords at the moment is really your melee weapon if you're a cleric. We'll see what rods and staves say. Defines an aptitude with staves. Rods and staves increase the user's aim and accuracy. Staves are average speed weapons dealing mostly pulse and blow damage. So they are talking quarterstaves. You do use the stave to hit. It's not just, because some games you have a staff and it's a magical weapon and you don't really hit with it it casts magic of some sort when you attack with it. You never hit someone with it. And so it's always good to find out what the case is. Rods, it doesn't really define what a rod is here. So I'm going to assume at this point, with no more knowledge, that rods are magical weapons. And then it gets a little weird why they're clumped together like that. But that's fine. I would tend to think that as a cleric, I would probably go more for a stave than a short sword. And I would probably arm them with a sling. The problem I think I'm going to have with this game is I've gotten too used to having cantrips as a spellcaster of any sort, whether it's clerics, whether it's priests and the theological, the deity guys, or whether it's spellcasters in mages, etc. I've gotten too used to having cantrips to use in battle, right? And I don't think we're going to have stuff like that here. I think we're going to be very limited on our spell use early game. If I do go down the path of a spellcaster, and I am like this close to picking a spellcaster here, we'll have to see what happens when we look at it further. But yeah, not being able to cast a spell every round, even if it only does, a couple of points damage, as opposed to, having to have a sling and use that to keep your distance. We'll see what happens. I will probably go down the sling route if I do pick a caster, but I don't know that I would want to put any points into it. I'd rather just go without and put the points somewhere else if I have to. And we could go unarmed as a cleric, which I guess suggests that you're going to do a monk type build, but then a proper monk, kung fu monk, you would probably take a fighter or something like that. Spells. We know all of these spells to begin with. So Armor of Alnarius. Armor requires no proficiency and does not interfere with spell casting. Grants hardened, reinforcing, and bracing to the target and scales up to level 9. Well, I don't know what hardened, reinforced... Can I get a pop-out view of that? No. I don't know what those terms are, but let's hope, because it scales, that it is worthwhile using for... and it doesn't say how long it lasts for. It does say in their hour of need, but I doubt it lasts for an hour. But it might. Some versions of D&D games, you have the mage armor type spells, which do last for 6 or 7 hours. So, or maybe even longer, sometimes 8 or 9 hours. So maybe it is an all day sort of thing, and it just lasts, and you don't have to worry about it. That would be great. And let's hope that it works on top of your normal armor, because you can wear armor as a cleric. So we'll see. Oh, good. There are actual healing spells in this. I was starting to think that... Well, I wasn't starting to think, but I was afraid that there wasn't actually any healing spells, and that the only way to heal was to rest after combat. Natural energy issues forth from the caster's hands to heal their target. The target is healed for 12 health. Okay, sometimes I like and sometimes I don't like these ones that say the exact amount of health that you're healed for. Because here's the thing, that is really nice when you come from so a lot of the standard D&D games, or even the Pathfinder games, where it says you heal between 1 and 8 points, and you're in the middle of battle, you cast a healing spell on your companion and it does the minimum damage, and it's like, oh my god, this companion is now going to die because I only healed them for, it doesn't matter whether it's the start of the game or the end of the game. So that is nice from that point of view, but I don't know why I don't like that idea. How much is 12 points compared to what my health is going to be? That's what you need to find out. Is this almost the entire health that most characters will have? And so does it feel like it's going to waste a lot of health for the first couple of levels, and then very quickly it's going to do a very little amount? Or do you start with 50 health and 12 is nothing, and you're going to have to cast this multiple times to get somebody through a combat. You know, that's the sort of thing that I don't know at this stage, so I don't know whether 12 is a good value or not. Never sleep. Causes a heightened sense of alertness in its target, waking them up from sleep. The induced stress that borders anxiety will also keep the target awake for a while. Grant alert to the target. Removes a sleep from the target. Scales up to level 9. So I'm assuming that A, this removes the sleep effect if someone is cast sleep. But B, can it also be used when you're camping? Can you cast Never Sleep on whoever's being your guard so that they don't have a problem? But then, does that add some sort of stress or anxiety debuff to the character? We'll have to see. Peace. Spell takes away the will to cause harm to others. Okay, so that's a charm person. That's a... scales up to level 9. Okay. Red Sun Rises. Conjures a blood red sun to rise over a target, granting them bravery and restoring their will to fight. Okay, so this is a remove fear. Grants strengthen and inspired to the target. And then Serenity. Spell can be used to restore the combatant nature of a creature to its original state. Grants alert, removes pacified. Okay. Okay. So we've got some nice debuffs in there. A self, I'm assuming that's a self. I'm assuming we can't cast that on anyone else. We've got some heals, and then we've got some debuff and things like that. So that's not bad. I have to pick. So I'm going to pick staff here, and I'm going to put 10 to wounds there. And that's everything. We should be able to go next from here. Okay, so now we have appearance. Did we have anything here about hit points or anything like that? No, we don't. I'm not going to change a single thing here because I'm not really worried about this character. That's an interesting group of portraits there, although that's it. There's no... Well, okay, that's all the males. Right, and then if you choose, you could choose to pick and use some females as well. Hang on a sec, is that... I didn't see that. Is that actually supposed to be a female? Maybe it is. Right. So, name and voice... just go suggest Edward. Oh, God. Okay. It's not actually showing me what my voice is. Well, not my voice. I saw the word voice there. It's not showing me what my health is. I think my health is exactly what my physique is. Let's just go back to the attributes. It doesn't... Yeah, it doesn't tell me what my health is. That's going to be interesting. Because it's saying that your maximum the maximum strength value is 20. Does that mean that maximum health you ever have in the game is 20? It's interesting. It'll be an interesting mechanic. Okay, that was a cleric. Convoker.
I am never lonely. My friends await my summons.
So this is a conjurer, summoner, whatever you want to put it. You can only wear robes. You can wear light armor if your supernatural is greater than 2. I find this interesting. Slings and fistables, throwing weapons, rods and staves, small blades. So exactly the same as the cleric. +2 focus, +3 intelligence. 10 plus 1 1/3 levels percentage damage by summoned creatures, and 20 plus 1 and 2/3% health for summoned creatures. +3 to starting, drying and brewing. That's a lot. Brewing and drying, that's a lot. +5 to learning and research. That's a lot as well. Yeah, okay. So we get increased damage dealt by summoned creatures. I thought we've already seen that. Why is that there twice? That information. This information right here is exactly the same as that. It's just spelt out a little bit differently by saying increased damage dealt by rather than damage by. Okay. And we get a bonus duration for our summon spells. Multiclassing Convoker disables the use of heavy armor and large shields. Okay, that's interesting to see. So there wasn't any problem with the cleric. The Convoker eschews most other magical pursuits in the favor of summoning capabilities of each spell class. Convokers are versatile masters of adaptation. Instead of focusing on the icy grasp of a winter mage or the dark energies of a necromancer, Convokers call up a wide range of creatures to suit any needed task, but don't mistake their versatility as pacifism. The summoning abilities they bring to bear can rain destruction on the enemies through claw, flame, or steel. That is actually interesting to me, I must say. I mean, I normally like an evoker type one where you just rain down power on your enemies. That's me from a mage point of view. But being able to summon different animal companions is interesting. Okay, we talked about these before. What does it give us by default? 8 physique, which was the same as the other one, 8 dexterity, 10 intelligence, 9 focus, 7 charisma, 3 supernatural. So we would be able to wear light armor at this point, and it's going to give the base on heat, cold, poison, and acid. I would take the point here in bargaining and persuasion, so let's just take that. Class specific prodigy enables additional dialogue choices themed around wizardry. This skill is inactive until you take a point. 1.5 from charisma, 0.5 from focus. Okay. Arcane studies enhances the aptitude for elevated energy level spells, both increasing available casting slots for such spells as well as decreasing the time needed to rest between casting them. Cooldown between elevated energy spells is decreased by up to 50%. Okay. Magical perception offers the ability to actively sense and disable hidden traps in the world. Oh, and disable. Ooh, that's nice. Being able to magically do that for once is really good. Perception skill must be at least of magical using the traps, sense and disarms using the magical must be at least of it only is magic. There must be some magical element to the trap. Okay. Sensing traps is easier than disarming them. The skill is inactive until a skill point is invested into it. Okay. And then magical warding offers the ability to erect a barrier of arcane force around the camp when resting at outdoors locations. Such a barrier will discourage wandering beasts and bandits from approaching the camp, decreasing the chance for the group to fight during their rest. Decreases the chance for an ambush and the minimum distance needed for hostile creatures to rest by up to 50%. This skill is inactive until a skill point is added. Okay. I feel like arcane studies is really important because I'm not really up on what these elevated energy level spells are, but it feels like they're higher level spells or things like that, and you don't get them and you don't get to use them, or their cooldowns are too long unless you add a point into here. But having said that, magical warding feels important as well. I would probably take arcane studies at first level and hope that you get, I don't know how often you get more class specific points. What would it allocate it in? Prodigy. Oh god, no. I mean, sure, dialogue based stuff is nice and it is good for the main character, but I feel like I might be missing out if I didn't take this early enough, but it might turn out that I don't have access to elevated level spells for a while, so that is something that I would have to probably reevaluate later on. Weapons, all the same as we had before. It's recommending slings. Yeah, that's sort of what I would probably recommend as well, because if I can't cast a spell, or, you know, I've summoned an enemy, I've summoned a companion, whatever you want to call them, and sent them into battle, I'm going to back them up by slinging rocks at the opponents as well. So for this build, I would definitely go with slings. So we have Magic Egg Scorpion. A large egg appears on the battlefield, followed soon after by the scorpion inside. Summon an egg that hatches after 1 turn. Summoning a dire scorpion for 3 turns. Scales up to level 9. Summons greater scorpions on higher levels. Poison weapon. Enchants this caster's attacks with magical poison, making opponents think twice before approaching them. Chance to apply poison on hit for 15 seconds. How long is... Oh, I was going to say how long is 15 seconds, but this is real time with pause, so... And then we have Summon Rat. Summons 2 rats for 3 turns, and they scale. And they have a chance to inflict disease. Summon Spider. Fragile, yet useful. Bite has a chance to poison. Summons 2 Forest Crawlers for 3 turns. Well, so how long is a turn then? Because that said that poisons something for 15 seconds. So we've got some time periods here that are not clear. They shouldn't be saying 3 turns. They should be saying X number of seconds, really. Summon Spider, and then we've got Wasp Assault, and that's it. Wasp Assault summons a swarm of angry wasps. They deal 1 to 5 stabbing damage to the target. Doesn't say how long they last for, and they scale up to level 9. So a little bit vague there. Oh, and we don't know all of these, and we can only take 2 of them to begin with. Okay, so that's interesting to know. Yeah, I probably would have gone that route myself. And there's not going to be anything else to choose here, I would think. Yeah, there's nothing there. So let's come back. We've done Convoker. Let's have a look at the
Nature
Druid.
is my province.
Be right back, 1 sec, hang on. I'll turn that background down a little bit. I think it seems a little bit loud and annoying to me. I probably need to turn the music down in the game overall, but we'll turn it back up a bit later. Okay, druids. I had to get a drink, by the way. Druids, like rangers, are stewards of the wild. They use their faith in the wild gods to protect nature against the encroachment of man. They spend their days away from people so that they may stay better in tune with nature. Druids can call upon the powers of their deity to heal or bring terrible and powerful forces of nature to call. They feel a kinship with rangers but still prefer solitude. So it doesn't tell you what god you worship. Or gods, there might be multiple. Only wear robes by default. Light armor if supernatural is greater than 1. Now that's better than the Convoker who had, and the Cleric who both had to have 2. No, sorry, clerics were...
The light
Clerics could already wear armors. That's right.
Nature is my province.
Okay, we have slings, thrown weapons, war clubs and hammers, rods and staffs, spears and halberds. Cannot cast unnatural spells. Cannot wear armor or wield weapons made of metal. I hope there's a lot of wooden weapons around. How would you have a wooden halberd? Suppose you could make one, but the thing about a halberd is it has a point and a blade on it, and wooden blades, the edges don't last, put it that way. Even fire hardening probably wouldn't be good. +1 focus, +4 to brewing and drying. You can do extra damage to animated undead and restless undead. You're resistant to arousal, resistance to illusion and manipulation. You have longer duration to your spells per level, to every 2 levels, and your healing increases as your levels go up. I don't remember seeing any of that with Cleric. Or did I skip over it?
The light guides me in all things.
Oh yeah, there was that. I must have missed it.
Nature is my
Okay, multiclassing Druid disables the use of large blades, battle axes, small blades, medium armor, heavy armor, or large or heavy shields. Let's just let it choose what it wants there. 8, 8, 8, 9, 8, and 4. So that's gone for more supernatural and less focus than some of the other builds. Oh, and 7, 7, and 6. We had more points to allocate there in resistance. 7, 7, 6 rather than 5, 5, 5. So that's interesting. I would, if this was the main character, I would be picking bargaining and persuasion there. Theology we saw before. Tend to wounds we saw before. Dream lets the druid talk to their deity Telendia. So she's the goddess of the elves, but also druids look to her. The skill will impart one of various boons to the user. So this is like the ability that the cleric had. So basically, before you sleep, you use this and you get some boon for the next day, I'm assuming. And we have abolish curses as well. So as long as we have a cleric or a druid, and I'm assuming maybe a Templar as well, we can abolish curses on items. This wants to take theology. Again, if it's the main character, yes, I would probably consider taking something like that early on to open up all of the dialogue choices, but yeah, I don't know. War clubs and hammers, spears and halberds. So what do they recommend? Slings and fistables. Yeah, I'm not much on druids being in the front line either, really. So I might consider spears and halberds, but it's unclear if any of those weapons are considered a longer range. Like often pole weapons, not always spears, but pikes or other pole arms have a reach type ability where you can attack from behind somebody else, behind the line, and still attack. In that case, that would be a useful skill to have potentially as a druid, because you can stand right behind your companions and you can be attacking over their shoulders sort of thing, and helping to take out the enemy they're working on. And then at the same time, you potentially have some healing and other effects that you can help with from back there, and you're a little bit more protected. You're not in the front rank, of course, until the people in front of you get knocked down, killed, or whatever, in which case you're in deep trouble. But yeah, and then all of these spells. So unlike the Convoker, you do get all of these. Elenator's boots. Enchants the target's feet, so maybe not only on yourself. Granting increased movement speed, grants quicken to the target, scales up to level 9. Hand of Mercy is the healing spell we already saw, does 12 points. Don't know if that's a lot or not yet. Magic Egg Scorpion, we've seen that as well. Convoker has that. Serenity, I think we saw that on the Cleric. Summon Spider, we saw that with the Convoker, and Wasp Assault we also saw with the Convoker. So, as it stands, early level druids look better than early level Convokers, because they have much the same amount of, or they have more options. Like I've got 3 summoning spells straight up, and the Convoker only has 2 slots, and the default wants you to take 1 summon and a poison thing. I'm assuming later on you get a lot better than the druid, but I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So no sense moving forward from that. Let's go back. The fighter.
I'm ready for battle.
+2 physique, so I'm assuming that means more. Well, no, that does mean more health. Resistance to strain and pain. Not sure what that is. Pulse and blow. That's from getting hit. So you've got some resistance to that. Damage with two-handed weapons. Chance to taunt target while holding a one-handed weapon. And increased damage with one-handed weapons. I don't know, that 20 plus 1% per level damage to two-handed weapons, whereas the one-handed weapons is 10 plus 1 per level. Okay, sure, you get a taunt bonus when you're using a one-handed weapon, but I don't know, I would almost... There'd be no question for me, I'd go two-handed weapons there, but... we didn't read the description. Fighters trained to be ready for anything. They're a well-versatile profession and are the most common of all martial professions. Fighters are proficient with all weapons and armor, making them a deadly and well-prepared combatant. Okay. This is going to be high in physique and low in everything else. 3 supernatural. Okay, that's good. We got some. And 10 for physique and 8 for everything else. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I might have wanted a bit more dex and focus just because that's accuracy. But, you know. It doesn't actually show me what my accuracy is over here. Strain and pain decreases the duration of throbbing, stun, immobilized, slow, itching, and weakened status. Okay. Yeah, there's no, like, aim statistic over here. I think there should be, so that you know how much it's affecting things. Class-specific. Seasoned Warrior enables additional dialogue choices. Okay, I should have expected that. The first one is always additional dialogue choices for the class. Outdoor Survival. More capable at fending for themselves and their allies in the wilderness. Increases health regain while resting at outdoor locations for all party members. Multiple characters can take this skill. So that's similar to the other healing ones that we saw with the Cleric and the Druid. I don't think the Convoker had that, though, did he? Command Company offers the ability to become the leader of the party. The commander of the group can designate various battlefield tactics to follow, which results in group-wide bonuses. Ah, so this is like teamwork feats from Pathfinder Kingmaker, or the Pathfinder series. New tactics become available as the leader advances. The bonuses gained remain active until another tactic is selected before the group gathers to rest. So it's teamwork feats, but no one else needs to take them but the company leader. That's nice. That's really useful, because the biggest problem with the teamwork feats in Pathfinder is you've got some character classes which it's almost useless to take, but then suddenly you find yourself standing next to that character and you don't get some bonus because they don't have the teamwork feat that you need to be able to give it. So I think I like this idea. Force locks and doors. This is really good. I love that there is a way to get through locks and doors, locks without having to have a thief or a rogue in your party. Don't get me wrong, I like rogues. I don't like thieves. I like rogues. Nothing against bards and stuff like that. But games that allow, strong characters or magical. Like I like the fact that the Convoker could use magic to find traps, and disarm them as well. But I really wish, if you saw any of my recent Skyrim playthroughs, I'm big on an unlock spell. It makes sense. It should be there. And who knows, the various spellcasters in this game might get those spells available later. We will see. This is going to take Seasoned Warrior, I know it is. And then weapons: bows, slings, throwing, war clubs, large blades, which I'm assuming includes long swords and two-handed. Large blades increases the long swords are average speed weapons, while great swords are very slow. Large blades deal mostly slashing damage, alongside a bit of pulse and blow. Okay. Small blades, battle axes deal mostly slashing. Axes are fast weapons, so there mustn't be like great axes. It must just be, battle axes must be single-handed. I don't know. Spears and halberds. Rods and staves, unarmed. That's going to give me... Oh, we had multiple points there to allocate. I didn't notice that. We had 5 points to distribute. Wow, that's a lot. And then abilities. We can only pick 3 of these. Challenging Howl. Draws the attention of the target creature to the user with a horrible shout. Taunts enemies in a 5-meter range. Meters. I love that. Meters, yes. Prolonged Berserk. This ability sends its target into a prolonged state of frenzy. Warriors who rely on primal might train rigorously to become able to summon their inner range at will. Grants enraged and indomitable to the target. Okay. It doesn't make sense that I can make somebody else berserk. So I'm going to assume that is a skill that only applies to yourself. Shattering Shot. So that would only really be used for ranged attacks, and I have taken bows and arrows and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Would I have gone and put... I could. Okay. I would have specialized that more. I probably would have gotten rid of all of those and then just gone bang into large blades. But I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But that makes my aim and accuracy 47% to begin with. So, I don't know. So Shattering Shot would only be for archery. So it's an attempt to disrupt the target's defenses. I don't know if that's really possible, but anyway, we'll go on. The user of this ability enters a vigilant pose, enhancing their defensive capabilities. Okay, so that's a good thing. And then Waylay. Attempts a disabling attack against a target that aims to prevent their movement. Kick him in the shins, basically. I don't think it knocks them down. Immobilizing for pierce damage and knockdown for pulp. Oh, so it depends on... So it's a slow if you use a slashing weapon. It's an immobilize if you use a piercing weapon, and it's knockdown for pulse and blow weapons. Right. I'd maybe take war clubs and hammers then. Okay, let's have a look at Highlander. This is going to be...
stand against me.
This is going to be barbarians from D&D and Pathfinder all over. Highlanders are hardy and strong warriors. Their profession originates in the harsh north. Forged strong warriors through tough enough to resist the elements. They prefer thick armor, but doesn't restrict their movement and helps them blend into natural environments. While they can pick up and use any weapon, they prefer the raw and crushing power of clubs and hammers. And the stats that we get: +3 to physique. We get a damage bonus with war clubs and hammers. A chance to cause knockdown with war clubs and hammers. We are resistant to heat, resistant to cold, resistant to poison, resistant to pulse, resistant to strain. And we get a +1 weapon skill point per level. All right. Hang on. Yeah, okay. 11 for physique. Only 7 for charisma, 3 for supernatural. So everyone's still getting a bit of supernatural, which is good. I was concerned that there might be some classes where it takes 1 or none by default. I don't think I would start a character with no supernatural. But then I still don't understand how that works into the gameplay. So that's something we'd have to work out later. Okay, Seasoned Warrior, we already saw. That's the dialogue choices. Outdoor Survival, we already saw. Command Company, we already saw. A Highlander commanding a company, I suppose. And Force Locks and Doors, we already saw. So maybe the class there is warrior, not like fighter or Highlander. We got all the weapons. We can only pick 4 weapons this time. I'll let it just do that. That's going to pick seasoned warrior. And then we've got 3. Challenging Howl, we already saw all of those already. So Challenging Howl, and we can get 3 of them. Prolonged Berserk, you're definitely going to take that as a Highlander. Shattering Shot, you're probably not going to take if you're not going to be using it. And Waylay would be really good as a Highlander, because that is, if you're taking the war clubs and hammers, that's going to do Pulse, which is going to cause knockdown. So I would think that would be very, very important. And strangely, it just picks those 3. What a waste. Okay. Next class, Necromancer.
Your dusk is my dawn.
Okay, if you know me, you know I'm not big on necromancy. Necromancers are viewed by society in a negative light and shunned due to their proximity to death, as they should be. That said, necromancers understand that a dead body is just a vessel, and they have learned to use death and its trappings as a tool. They pursue great mysteries which others have shunned and deemed immoral. But necromancers are not evil. Right. They are merely focused on the inherent powers of life and death, sometimes even more than their own existence. Because of this, powerful necromancers are an extremely rare sight, but the most powerful are said to have transcended death and can create powerful undead servants. Yeah. So, you can only wear robes by default. Supernatural of 2 means you can wear light armor, that's fine. Slings thrown, rods and staves, small blades, that's the same that we saw for Convokers. I'm thinking it's probably going to be the same for Spell Weavers and Winter Mages. +3 focus to... Yeah, +3 to focus, +2 to intelligence, +4 to brewing, +4 to learning. So you increase the damage dealt by summoned creatures, you increase the health points of your summoned creatures, and the damage dealt by damage over time effects. I think a lot of the damage over time effects are probably going to be poison or some form of necrotic negative energy type damage. You can't use heavy armor and large shields if you multi-class. Right, let's have a look. They end up with 8 physique, 8 dex, 9 intelligence, 10 focus, 7 charisma, and 3 supernatural. Yep, I agree with most of that, although I might have gone for 10 intelligence and 10 focus, and maybe dropped physique 1, but yeah, whatever. And they'll probably just go the normal 555 there if you do the allocate. And look, I think most characters would probably be good to do that. Unless if we find once we get into the game that there's a lot of, say, poison and acid damage around and there's not much heat and cold to begin with, you might want to change, but I don't know. So we're going to allocate the 1 point to bargaining there, but if this wasn't my main character, if I create an NPC, I probably wouldn't put it into that. Prodigy we saw before, that's the dialogue choice. Arcane Studies, that we saw as well. Magical Perception, Magical Warding. So that's all the same for all of the magical classes. That's going to put it into Prodigy, even though I feel Arcane Studies is pretty important, as is Magical Warding. You're probably just going to have to add those points in later. Weapons are all the same as before. Sling is probably a good idea because this guy's going to do some casting. And like the Convoker, you have to choose which spells you want. So there is a Corrosive Bolt, deals poison and acid damage to the target. Doesn't say what range it is, but it does scale to level 9. Death Pulse conjures a wave of necrotic energy around the caster, damaging anyone caught in it. 5 to 16 poison and acid damage to the target, scaled up to level 9. Fever sends a spell-induced fever to attack its target, causing a sense of intense heat engulfing its body, inflicts throbbing, toasting, and weak to the target, scales up to level 9. Poison Weapon. Okay, we've seen that one before. Predator's Fangs. This spell lets the user tap into the life force of the target of their next attack, restoring their own health. Next attack steals life. Next attack deals 4 more damage, scales up to level 4 to level 9. Okay. And it's going to take the first 2. It always takes the first things that you pick here, so that's that. Interesting stuff. I sort of expected there to be a summon in this list, because when we came back to the stats, it was talking about the damage dealt by summoned creatures. So what it means is early game necromancers have no protection by using a summoned female pitchers. So they're Stone Wall was the one I missed. Thank you for that, Borland. I missed Stone Wall. Doesn't change anything though. You need a good thick wall to solve your problems. Creates one of those which blocks movement. Okay. Thank you for that. That was good. I will show the pictures in a minute, Kaylee. Yes, you really... the description of the abilities makes it look like a necromancer would have summons that they can cast a lot of, but you don't have them yet, unless there are a lot of, say, scrolls and items, like maybe there's a wand or a rod or something that would summon some sort of undead companion that you can use for a while. I don't know. And I'm assuming later on you will get spells that will summon, but it doesn't look like there is to begin with. So be aware, a starting necromancer is really going to be a little bit in trouble. And it's not entirely clear to me whether poison weapon can be used on missile weapons. I'm going to make the assumption that it can, but the icon being a blade like that makes it feel like it would only work on a melee weapon. So let's keep that in mind as well. So that's the portraits for the males, and if you unfilter by sex, you get males and females in there. So if I was to go back, and I have to go all the way back to here to go female. Oh, it wants me to allocate the points again. It remembered everything else, but it didn't remember the skills. That's a little bit funny, guys. So those are the female portraits. Yeah, that one there, that looked like a male to me when I first saw that portrait. Oh, once you zoom out and see the hairstyle, but I mean, okay, that's just a hairstyle. Once you zoom in a little bit, I would not have initially said that was male, but that's fine. Oh, that's interesting. Seeing the Rillian with like chains between their tusks. That's a nice little feature. That I like that. That's really good. Okay, we're just going to duck back and go male again, and then come forward, and let's go from necromancer to ranger. So,
guide to the wilds of Yerringal.
So, you know, this is my bivouac. This is my wheelhouse. Let's see what it's like, shall we? Rangers are warriors who feel most at home in the heart of the wilds and pledge to protect Yerringal from man and beast alike. They are sworn to preserve a balance between man and nature. They enforce this with their actions. Rangers are skilled in the use of any weapon but excel with the bow. They also abhor the unnatural and are trained to take down the undead and other abhorrent creatures of men. So really, you hate necromancers and undead in general. Stat-wise, can't wear heavy armor. I'm fine with that. Can wield any weapon. Gain spells at level 4. This is classic ranger so far. +2 to physique, racial, +1 to dex, +1 to charisma. I don't know why +1 to charisma, but hey, I'm not complaining. So you get a bonus of damage to animated undead and damage to restless undead. Oh, I only just twigged to that right now. I should have. So basically there is a difference in this game between the restless undead, so in other words, someone who died and then rose by themselves for whatever reason, as opposed to animated undead is something that was risen via a necromancer. That's my take on this anyway. Bonus damage to machineries? Oh, I think I remember seeing a very, very small reference to golems in this game. So there may be like golem-type devices that are more Dwemer constructs, if you think of the Skyrim type of thing. Or some other realms had dwarves or gnomes making like clockwork automatons and golem-type things. So maybe the dwarves make clockwork golems. I don't know. We get an increased damage bonus with bows and arrows, slings and fustaballs. We are resistant to strain and pain and resistant to pulse and blow. Okay. Very nice. So we've got bonuses to physique, dex, and intelligence. If we allocate all of that, is that just adding? Oh no, I thought it might have been adding just 4 points to every one of these, but it wasn't. It actually added 4 to some and 3 to others. I don't know if I would keep physique quite that high, but I see, the thing is, this ranger is a little bit different from other rangers that I have played. This ranger, if I was playing this ranger, I would definitely have a bow, but I would have a backup melee weapon as well. And I would be changing between the weapons quite often, I would think. Particularly as the leader of the party, right? I see that I would be, yeah, these are all the same. Seasoned warrior, outdoor survivalist, command company, right? So I don't know that I would take that. Probably would, but I'd be really tempted to take outdoor survival as well, because what's a ranger if he doesn't know outdoor survival? And this, you have to put a point in it? Yes. I almost feel like rangers should maybe not have forced locks and doors. They should have outdoor survival as already pre-allocated. Command company is fine, but maybe that should be their difference, because that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I would probably, I've got only 3 points. Now that's harsh. When the fighter had like 7 points and the Highlander had 4, and as a ranger I only get 3, because that means I'm going to go 2 there and I'm probably going to go 1 there. Or maybe I would put a point into spear instead. No. I don't know what it is about spears. I'm not big on them. And these are the same. Yeah, these are the same as what the... I really expected there to be more... I expected there to be more differentiation between a fighter, a Highlander, and a warrior, and a ranger. The only difference here is I've got prolonged berserk, I've got shattering shot. Maybe the others didn't have vigilance, but like there was another one before prolonged berserk that the fighter had. Yeah, this is like, I could build, I almost, apart from the fact that I get those bonuses of damage to the undead and stuff like that, I could build a better ranger as a warrior, as a fighter almost. I could certainly be better with a bow. It would be interesting to try and do the calculations to see whether the, you know, you're getting 6.6% bonus. Okay, so look, even if I did this, if I said I'm only going to do bows, right? 36.8% skill as a ranger. Let's have a look. Let's come back here. Go back to fighter.
I am ready for battle.
Allocate. Allocate. Don't care, don't care. You had 5 points. 47. You can make a better archer as a fighter than you can as a ranger. And for the first few... Depends on how often you get more points to be able to put into this. But I think you're doing more damage against the undead even than the ranger is with the bow. Oh, that challenging howl was... And you've got everything else. So you've got this one extra feat that the ranger doesn't get. I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in the ranger, to be honest. And that's saying something.
I walk with the spirits. Their wisdom will serve you well.
Shamans are beings of faith who channel their power in an unusual manner. They attempt to connect with their deity on a spiritual level and communicate with spirits and other servants of their god. Shamans have access to a kind of magic that is not easily understood by wizards or priests. They use an ancient magic and their ability to travel with their non-physical souls to further their communion with their god tends to confuse most short-sighted magical practitioners. Okay. Only wear light armors and robes. Interesting. No matter what their spiritual level, they can't wear anything. Well, they've already got the ability to wear light armor, I guess, because the mages and the wizards had the ability to, the magic, spellcasters had the ability to use light armor if they had. I suppose it would be if they had the ability to use medium armor if their spirituality was a certain level, but that doesn't fit with the shaman, so let's not worry about that. They are a little bit... They can't use blades. Short blades. Only rods thrown and slings. That's sort of understandable. Bonus to focus. Bonus to intelligence. +3 bonus to supernatural. Starting with a high bonus of +5 to brewing and drying, +2 to learning and research. They do extra damage with rods and staves. They do extra damage to necromancers. Oh, very nice. Yeah, teach those necromancers what's what. Extra damage to the restless undead, but not the animated undead. That's interesting. So they do extra damage to the necromancer, but not their summon. That's if I'm correct in the difference between animated undead and restless undead. And I certainly hope I am. They have a higher resistance to illusion and manipulation. They have an increasing duration to spells and increased health for summoned creatures. And when you can't use heavy armor or large shields when you multi-class. High focus and everything else is sort of strange that they didn't put more into supernatural when they get a +3 initial bonus. I feel like I would have put more into supernatural there, and they have 20 points to distribute in heat and cold, in resistances, which is interesting. So did the... Which one was it? I can't remember now. Theology, tend to wound, commune, and abolish curses. Yeah, that's the same stuff we saw for the other... what's the word I'm thinking of? The priestly classes. That's not the word. Anyway. Yeah, I would probably be doing swings and fistables as well. Armor of Analarus. Really? Okay. But yep. Elenator's boots, we've seen those before. Fever, we've seen before. Hand of Mercy, we've seen before. Never Sleep, we've seen before. That's all exactly the same as a cleric. And you know them all. Okay, so again, not a lot of difference between a shaman and a cleric. It's just a few bonuses here and there that are different. And again, it says you can have increased health of your summons, but you don't actually have any to begin with. So be aware of that. And you're even less frontline than the cleric is, because you can only wear light armor, whereas the cleric can wear medium, I think it said. So if you're doing a shaman, or if you have a shaman in your party, you want to keep them back a little bit. And yeah, I don't know if staves would have reach on them. Like I said, the halberds might, but it sort of feels if they don't, throwing weapons or slings are your best option here. And what's not clear is ammunition, because let's be honest, most of these games are not realistic on ammunition. Trying to carry even 20 throwing weapons, let alone 100, is just not doable. Okay, we'll come back. What's after Shaman? Spell Weaver. This one interests me quite a bit.
My spells.
Sorry, I didn't actually hear what that said.
The light guides me in all things. The wise shall fear my spells.
Yes, very good. Spell Weavers are the most common form of wizards in Yerangel. They are as varied as the world itself. Spell Weavers focus on exploring as many of each magical disciplines as possible, though thus no two Spell Weavers are the same. All they share in common is an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Spell Weavers are much too busy studying the arcane to bother with martial training, and as such rely on their mastery of the eldritch magics. Almost looks like it's an E to me, to protect them. Can only wear robes. You can wear light armor if your supernatural is greater than 2. Slings, throwing weapons, rods and staves, small blades. We've seen it all before. +3 to focus, +3 to intelligence, +5 to brewing, and +5 to learning. So you're not getting any bonuses to spell damages or durations or anything like that. But it means you could basically have a spell weaver who potentially is doing a lot of necromantic stuff, and there's no problem with that. He just maybe can't keep his skeletons around as long as a necromancer, and conversely, he might not be able to have his summons last as long as a convoker. We shall see. Yeah, see, 10 for intelligence and focus. I think that's really important there. I don't know if there's an accuracy to the spell element as well, because I would definitely want to keep dexterity as high as possible to keep that accuracy up. So I would probably consider switching those. Charisma, I'm not sure how much I would worry about charisma in this build, so I might take the charisma points if I was doing this, and I might put them into dexterity just to make sure that A, I can dodge a bit better, and B, if aim is used for some spells, aim and accuracy, I'd want that as high as possible as well. And we have 15 points of allocations. Again, as I said, we don't know whether any of these is more relevant or not. I will say, though, that out of all the spells that I have seen so far, that my classes can use at first level, poison. Everybody seems to have access to some sort of poison spell. So I would consider maybe starting with no resistance to heat and cold and having an increased resistance to poison initially to see if that helped. I don't know. But we'll see. Yep, that's all the same. That's all the same. So corrosive bolt, what did I say? Poison and acid. Death pulse we've seen. Fever we've seen. Summon spiders, warp assaults. It's all the same stuff, but you can only allocate 2. That seems very necromantic to me, so I would never use that. So does fever in a way. Even corrosive bolt is a little bit, yeah. So not liking the starting spells for those guys. Hang on, went back too far. So that was Spellweaver.
Keep your eyes on the coin. Where has it gone?
Okay, Swindler. Only wear light armor. Bows, slings, thrown weapons, small blades, rods, and staves are their weapon availability. They get a +1 bonus to Dex, +1 to Focus, which will help with their aim, as will Dex, +2 to Charisma. They are a Swindler. +2 to Intelligence. That doesn't necessarily go with Swindler. Let's be honest. A lot of Swindlers think they are intelligent. That's all I'm going to say there. +1 to Starting, Brewing, and Drying. +5 to Bargain and Persuasion. That's the first time I think I've seen anyone with a bonus to Bargain and Persuasion. So they get a bonus to damage with throwing weapons and small blades. They get a bonus to damage against any opponents. So this is the sneak attack of sleeping, stunned, unconscious, pacified, or charmed. And they get bonus damage against poisoned, bleeding, wounded, or dissolving. And they get a skill point, 1 class skill point per level, which means others mustn't. They must get them every 2 or 3 levels, maybe. Swindlers are capable of backstab attacks when attacking while sneaking and by using special abilities. Backstab attacks are possible using daggers, short swords, and quarterstaves. You had me with the first two. You lost me with quarterstaves. Multi-classing Swindler disables the use of heavy armor and heavy shields. Yep, I can understand that. Okay. I feel like this is going to be heavy on Dex, Int, and Charisma. Yeah, it's sort of... I would have dropped Physique. I mean, honestly, I don't know. But we'll see. Bargain and Persuasion, Learning and Research, they have nothing in. I would be putting a point in that to begin with. Okay, class specific. Hide and Sneak. Offers the ability to remain hidden from prying eyes. A character using Hide and Sneak has a chance to move through detection range of neutral and hostile characters without getting detected. Hiding decreases the character's movement speed and enables backstab attacks. Hiding is more effective while staying outside the view cone of other creatures. This skill is inactive until a point is added. Steal and plant item. Now, the idea about planting items is there was, in the brewing and drying, you can create dried powders, and if you plant those on an opponent, it can poison them or something. Interesting mechanic. I don't know how much I will play with it, because I don't know how much I want to go with the outlaw classes, sorry. Pick locks. Unlock doors, chest, various containers. Picking offers a moderate amount of experience. Using this skill is silent and more effective against higher level locks. Okay. Shady dealings. Additional dialogue choices. Okay. And then disarm traps. Spot traps. Skill only detects traps that are at least partly mechanical in nature. Sensing is easier than disarming, so that's the reverse of the magical trap stuff. Bows, slings, throwing, blade, rods, unarmed. Yep. Okay, what have we got here? 3 points against these 4 skills. Slayer's Intent. This ability fills the user with a rush of adrenaline, enhancing their physical capabilities and senses for a short while. Quickened, steady, and lucky. Dirty Blow. So it's an attack aiming to disrupt their opponent's ability to fight back. Their next attack has a 50% chance to cause... Next stealth attack inflicts stunned to the target. Next non-stealth attack afflicts silent to the target. Okay. Or the... Oh, where's Boo? This is something a ranger should have, not... Anyway, the user of this ability attempts a ranged attack aimed at the target's eyes. Next attack has a 30% increased critical strike chance. Next attack deals 30% increased damage. Next backstab attack inflicts concussion to the target. Next non-backstab attack inflicts blinded to the target. I mean... Okay. It just, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Considering that this character's majority of their weapons are piercing weapons, because you're talking bows, thrown weapons, small blades, and rods and staffs. So rods and staffs are blunt, but you know, bows, throwing, and small blades. If you're and it's supposed to be a ranged attack, which means bows and throwing. If you're using either of those, and you attack a target and you aim for the eyes, I'm sorry, they're not just blinded, they're probably dead. If you've got a couple of inches of iron sticking out of your eye, it's gone into your brain, and it's quite likely going to kill you. I mean, yes, there are people that survive that type of injury. Yes. But, you know, not many people ever survived an arrow to the eye, is what I'm saying. Because it usually goes straight through to the back of the brain, and, yeah, you don't live very long. Malicious Strike. This ability makes the user prepare a particularly potent attack against the target, aiming for their vitals. Next attack has a 30% chance to increase critical chance. Next attack deals 30% increased damage. I wonder how much extra damage critical strikes do, because it doesn't say. Okay, that's all interesting. I would probably here have Malicious Strike. It depends if I'm going for a ranged or not, and it's unclear whether things like the Dirty Blow and Slayer's Intent also work with ranged attacks. Well, I mean, Slayer's Intent is a buff to you, but it's unclear. This one's specifically saying it's useful for, you know, it's only used by ranged, but these two, it's unclear whether they can be used with ranged. So it almost sounds like if you're going for a sort of ranged outlaw build, you would definitely want points in for the eyes, as silly as the description of that sounds to me. But if you're going for more of a melee build, it's unclear whether these are only available for melee or whether they can be worked into ranged attack as well. But you would definitely want those two. You just don't touch for the eyes if you're doing a melee build. If you're going to be an all-rounder, then fine. You know, pick the one that you like. Not knowing, early game, not knowing what Quicken, Steady, and Lucky, what those bonuses actually are. And this is why earlier I clicked on one of these and was hoping that there was a pop-up window that had the same text in it, because it looks like, because those are bold, it looks like they could be clickable, but you can't get up to the text to click them. You know, I would have liked to be able to click on Quickened and get a summary that tells you what the Quickened effect is, because at the moment they're just words to me and they don't have an actual meaning. So I feel the interface here needs some work to explain a lot of these status effects, because we're hearing about them, but we're not really, you know, some of these ones over here I can hover on and get more information, but some of the extra effects in the descriptions of these abilities, yeah, not quite as clear. Okay, Swindler, what's next? Templar, the Paladin.
Alnarius shields the righteous.
Templars are human warrior priests. That's right, the only race that can be them is humans. The most devout of their kind, and only the most dedicated, can become a Templar. Sworn to a strict code of conduct, they train endlessly in combat so that they might fight evil in whatever form it manifests. They are specially trained to hunt and dispatch the undead. Interesting. So we have actually several classes that are dedicated to eradicating undead, and wear any armor, any physical armor. Interesting. Can wield any weapon. Gain spells at level 4. Yep, that's straight out of a paladin. +2 physical, +1 focus, +1 charisma. Damage bonus to animated undead and restless undead. Resistance to strain and pain and pulse and blow. Resistance to arousal, resistance to illusion and manipulation. Right. Yeah, heavy physical is what I expected. I expected a little... Yeah, I suppose there isn't really much difference between a 10 and an 8 when you talk about intelligence and focus and things like that. I expected more... Didn't they? Oh no, they only have protection from, like, those status effects and not the physical resistances. Okay. We've seen all of that before. We know all of that. Challenging House, Shatter, Shot, Vigil. These are... Templars are not real. This is more... Because those are fighter abilities, not clerical ones. But then they don't get spells to begin with, like clerical spells. So it's more initial feats or abilities or whatever you want to call them. They call them spells here, but they aren't really. I don't know. They get 3 points there. I mean, Vigilance and Waylay I would definitely take. Challenging how? Yeah, but the problem is I don't see a paladin as someone who taunts an enemy. Like, paladins have this virtuous, upright sort of... You've got that whole... And the idea of, like, slinging verbal mud at your opponent doesn't sit right for me for a paladin or a Templar. So, anyway. That's that. Okay. So... Templars didn't have a lot new to really show us. Thief.
The shadows are my home. Come, let me show you.
Okay, in a world infested with greed, the thief has become much more common. Their skill set is diverse, and they can function as common footpads or royal spies. They prefer subterfuge and misdirection to open conflict. Their ability to steal or plant items, remain undetected, and create all manners of powders makes them a deadly and unpredictable foe in and out of combat. So, we can only wear light armor and standard bows, slings, thrown weapons, small blades, rods, and staffs. Typical outlaw. +2 to dex, +2 to focus, +3 to brewing, +1 to bargain. So, similar to the swindler, but not as high bargain and persuasion. Bonus damage to sleeping, stunned, unconscious, pacified, charmed, and bonus damage to... Now, interesting, the swindler got bonus attack to something. I don't remember what it was, but these guys don't. They do get the one class skill point per level, same as the swindler did, and they're getting the bonus to damage against the various status effects. And they have the backstab. And multi-class, they can't use heavy armor and heavy shields, to be expected. Yeah, pretty much as I would expect. High int, high focus. Sorry, high dex, high focus. And yes, less charisma. You know. And only 15 points to put amongst the resistances. That's fine. Is there anything here that's any real different to... No different to the swindler. So the only real difference you've got with the swindler, let's see if we can see what that difference was here in the stats.
Keep your eyes on the coin. Where has it gone?
Now the Swindler has improved damage with thrown weapons and small blades. The Thief doesn't have that. That's what it was. They get a damage bonus to, in particular, small blades and throwing weapons. Whereas the Thief
The shadows are my
just
help.
gets the damage
Come,
bonus
let
to
me show
the
you.
different status types. So it's not locking them into the particular weapon as much. But that almost makes me prefer a Swindler to a Thief. I don't know. +2 dex, +2 focus, and the Swindler gets
Keep your eyes on the
+1 dex,
Where
+1 focus.
has it gone?
So that extra dex that the Thief gets
The
might
shadows
help
are my
them
help.
be a little
Come,
bit
let
better
me show
at
you.
generally attacking, because that's going to dex and focus are going to help with aim. So maybe the Thief is going to hit more often, but the Swindler's going to do more damage consistently if they're using the right weapon types. Okay. And of course, the Swindler has all of that bargain and persuasion ability. So, not really wanting to have an outlaw in my party, but maybe if there's a Swindler around, I might not mind too much. Now, the other thing that I've noticed I haven't made a big thing of yet, and you know, we've still got a couple of, we've still got one class to go, but there's no alignment. You remember, if we go through here and just go allocate for everything, there is no alignment choice here, right? You only get 2 weapons as a Thief. I can't remember if you had 2 or 1 as a Swindler. Yeah, there's no alignment, so when you come across a new companion, you don't really have anything but their actions to define what, you know, that if you think along the lines of good/evil, you know, generous/greedy, whatever, because maybe that's the way to look at things in this game. Good/evil, maybe generous/greedy is not necessarily good/evil. Anyway, yeah, it's very much like Baldur's Gate 3 in that in the same way that, because Baldur's Gate 3 didn't have alignments either. And so you had to basically just take people on what they did, what they said, and then you could put in your head, well, I think this person's a little bit out there, not my sort of person, or, yep, I'm loving this, let's go for this, let's do this as a friend type of thing. Because I don't think there's anything in... No, there's absolutely no option to choose anywhere here. So, and I don't know whether there's going to be any sort of stat in the game around greed and any of that sort of stuff, so we'll see what happens. Okay, the final class.
In the pitiless cold, I reign.
There are wizards called winter mages who seek the mastery of harsh magics of the cold north. They are extremely high resistance to cold and can withstand temperatures that would kill mortal men. Because of this, they are uncomfortable in warmer climates, but some winter mages still travel to further their knowledge. Winter mages need less sleep than other mortals, using a technique they developed known as cold sleep. Powerful winter mages can use their knowledge and magical skills to craft ice golems, which can serve as mighty guardians. Only wear robes unless their supernatural is greater than 2. Slings, fistables, throwing weapons, rod staves, small blades. +3 focus, +2 intelligence, +3 to brewing, +4 to learning. Increased resistance to arousal, increased resistance to cold, and increased cold damage dealt. Unable to use heavy armor and large shields if multi-classing. This is going to be interesting because, yeah, that's a standard sort of mage look. And That is actually not 5. It's going to be more than that in reality. But this next page is going to be interesting because so far, all of the spellcasters, all of the wizard classes have had exactly the same... No, they haven't had exactly the same spell options, did they? Necromancer had different from... Yeah, okay. See, all the other groups had basically the same options, they just some had more and some had less. Let's see what we get. So we've seen all of that. That's no different. That's all fine. We've got Death Pulse, Poison Weapon, Predator Fang, Snow, and Stonewall. The only one we haven't seen here before is Snow. Conjure the very elemental essence of cold, then throw it at someone you don't like. Deals 3 to 10, 12 cold damage to the target, scales up to level 9. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. I'm almost leaning to Winter Mage as a class, because I'm a little disappointed in the Ranger.
I shall be your guide to the wilds of Yerringal.
But I feel like I can survive as a Ranger a little bit longer than maybe as a mage in my first playthrough. But I am so much in the mage kick at the moment. And Convoker does sound interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Convoker really sounds interesting. Maybe I'll do that. The problem I had with the Spellweaver was the initial spells available just didn't... None of them really grabbed me as, oh yeah, that's going to be really, really good, you know? And I definitely would never pick Necromancer. And the Winter Mage, while it's something new, and you do have the Snowball spell to begin with, what I don't know is how often you can cast these spells. Right? Oh, that was the other thing. Hang on a sec. Did we have to pick from these spells, or did we get them all? No, I've got to pick 2. And it was the same with the Convoker, wasn't it?
I am never lonely. My friends await my summons.
Yeah, you had to pick 2. Deals 1 to 5 stamming damage. Doesn't say how much damage they do. Doesn't say how much damage they do, except the fact that they just inflict a disease. Doesn't say how much damage they do. Okay, the Winter Mage is the one that's really different here.
In the pitiless cold, I reign.
Now, the problem is, it almost feels like it's a waste.
Sure, my arrow true.
It almost feels like it's a waste to play a Winter Mage and not be a Feldergug. They get extra cold resistance, extra supernatural, because like you're getting -1 to your base supernatural as a human. Remember that. We're getting a bonus to intelligence, -1 to charisma and physique, but who cares? You don't need that as a winter mage. I usually like to go for humans, but I think
My blade is sure, my arrow true.
Willows
Cunning
can't
serves
be
where
winter
violence
mages,
will
so that's
not.
no good. Dwarfs can't be winter
rock
mages.
or breaking skulls.
My blade
Elves
is
can
sure,
be,
my arrow true.
but
My
I
blade
think
is
a
sure, my
Feldergod.
arrow true.
I think a Feldergod winter mage might be the thing.
In the pitiless cold, I reign.
Now, what does that give me when I allocate? 3 supernatural, 7 charisma, 10 focus, 9 intelligence, 8 dex, 8 physique. Ooh. The extra supernatural gave me more points to allocate here. Let's put... We already get lots and lots and lots of cold resistance, so let's not put any in that for the moment. And let's go 9 and 9. Let's go 10 and 10 for those. I'll put a point there. I don't really want to put a point here into Prodigy, but I feel like I have to. I feel like starting the game without those extra wizardry dialogue options may be a disadvantage to me. But I really feel like the arcane studies and the magical wardings are going to be really important. I would take a point out of magical perception if I could. But I like it as well, to be honest. So we'll take Prodigy. There is a huge part of me saying take slings, but I think I'm going to take staff. This could be a major problem. We're going to take snow, naturally. That's necromantic. Don't like it. Borderline necromantic. Not big on poisoning people. Predator's fangs. That's life stealing. It's like vampiric if it's not necromantic. So let's take Stonewall. Nice defense. And we need something that looks Feldergugian. So maybe that. Yeah, the hair needs to be redder, I think. Major color. Well, no. The major color needs to be white. And the minor color needs to be azure. Maybe the other way around. Maybe azure. Is that a grey? Azure and white. Let's see what that looks like. The skin color. No, we're a Beldegog. We're crying out loud. It's blue. Eye color. Can't tell, but I'm going to go with the blue. And we've got fire brick hair. No, he needs like a top knot type thing, doesn't he? That's about it. Okay, well, we'll go with that. There's no way to change the portrait, because that doesn't look anything like that. Coral Door.
Yes. I'm not going to like this, am I?
I don't know, that sounds a bit, I don't know, something to me.
I await your instructions. I'm listening.
Speak your mind. Don't you have another lick, Spittle? I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. Okay. Coral Door. Coral Dar. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah. It's only taken us 2 hours, but we've got our first character built.
Oh, why didn't I look here first? And more to the point, why must I come fetch you for every little thing?
Sorry, what am I supposed to be doing?
Ugh, you do know this is the day the Lords of Isilbright are visiting? You are simply the laziest... Never mind. The Lords are already here and waiting to be served. And for goodness sake, don't forget to gather your things from your chest before you come to table.
You've received a quest. Side quests. Journal. Compendium. Read in the world. Okay. This is interesting. I have seen someone play like 10 minutes, but a little bit further than this. And one thing that they said, which I definitely agree with, they wish that while other things were happening, you could call this journal up and add items into it. Because I know in the very first little thing we've got to do here, where we've got to serve these lords and ladies, we've got to remember what each person wants. And it would be advantageous to be able to type it out in the game rather than have to write it on a piece of paper or something.
You can't be serious.
Okay, there's the map. We've got South Gate, Main Gate, orb of mesmerizing colours. The globe reveals a kaleidoscope of swirling colours. That's not how you spell kaleidoscope, though. And vapours mesmerizing the viewer. Kaleidoscope starts with a K, I believe. Don't know that I should talk to these people. Maid servant, guard, and that one's disappeared. Royal guard, guard, guard. Tab to highlight objects. Yeah, that's pretty standard. Use the party manager to set up formations. Okay. That's fine. I like formations. That was one thing I did see someone say about this, is the load times on some of the screens are a little bit much. Character's room is now highlighted on the map. It contains a chest with a set of items for you to collect. Move to the room by double-clicking on the highlighted area. Oh, that's nice. Run, 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 run. There is my scholar's stick. It is a magic staff. 22 gold. And my old damp robe. I'm already wearing an old damp robe, am I? Why would I need another one? take all, which looks like thing from the Addams family. Take uncommon. Alright. Inventory. Yes, yes. I'm already wearing an old damp robe. And it wants me to use another one. This gives me... Okay. So it does 1 to 6 damage. Do I have health? 17. Okay. 13.5 from base. My base physical is 7. How do you get 13.5 from... Oh, minus 5.5 from physique. Is that because I went below 8? Interesting. Plus 4 from supernatural gives me 17 total. Right, and we're wearing thick leather boots. Yeah, I'm not sure I like those colours, to be honest. Can we... I'm not a big purple fan, but it's purple and brown, isn't it? Doesn't really seem to be. That's about the closest we can get to purple. No. That colour. Alright. Aim and accuracy 18%, evasion 11, damage 1 to 6. Right. And then we've got channeling. How do I have channeling howl, prolonged berserk, shattering shot? I don't know those. They're not part of my class. And then Slayer's Intent, Dirty Blow, and For the Eyes. That's half of a fighter and half of an outlaw. Okay. Go to the meeting room to find Beline. You can check on her location on the map. Am I going to stand up on the table?
At last.
No.
Ugh, don't go twisting an ankle in all your hurry. You take care of the drinks. Lord Woolcraft and Lady Larenthal prefer wine. Lord Joran would like ale. Lady Virulin and Lord Espen want mead. Go!
WL is wine. Is A, and B and E are mead. What? Don't give me that crap. That's fine. Sorry about that. Hang on. I gotta turn this music down. It's bugging me. It's way too loud. There we go. Right. Continue. The world of Yerungal holds plenty of spoils and riches. You may find many of them in containers of various sorts. You may highlight all visible containers by tab. Clicking on a container will command your character to open it. Clicking on a serving table to view its contents. That's this one here. And we have ale, wine, and mead. There we go. So, Lord Woolcraft.
Staff. I was starting to wonder if you'd all fallen ill with the plague or something.
Your wine, Lord Woolcraft.
Ugh, the carriage was quite stuffy, and my throat is sorely parched.
Lady Virulin, your mead.
Just what I wanted for a change.
Hello. You're here. Finally.
Lord Esperon is mead.
Ah, good.
Hello. Yes, get on
Lady
with it.
Larenthal is wine. Yeah.
I suppose you expect me to toss you a coin for doing your job.
And then
Well,
Lord Joran is ale.
you know this is supposed to be served at room temperature. No, of course you don't.
Shall we do business, gentlemen? Gentle ladies?
Yes, let's. We are convened to discuss the situation with Deron Gould. What has been rumored and suspected for so long has finally come to pass. A council of nobles with mining interests in the town have declared themselves independent from the crown of Isilmarald.
I don't like this dirty business. Sending a list of grievances to the king. Sounds more like the actions of a bunch of uppity peasant farmers than nobility. There are ways these things are done.
What, with poison?
And there are ways that kingdoms may crumble. I understand your feelings on the matter, Lady Larenthal, but Darren Gould enjoys the sympathies of many important persons here in the north, and I number myself among them. What's more, there have already been defections among the Isilmarald nobility, most recently Aldnar.
She speaks of your son, Lord Espen, who chose to forsake his birthright to join the rebels.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Lady Larenthal, for reminding me. And I'll thank you, Lady Virulin, not to speak his name on this estate, nor in my hearing again.
Oh, why, I will...
But you won't.
Whatever the loyalties of, the young Lord of House Espen, the southern nobles have many legitimate complaints. Heavy, some say ruinous taxation, delayed shipments thanks to the Crown's regime of inspections and checkpoints, the King's insistence that Deron Gould's military, even the town watch, must be trained in the north. It's quite a list.
Yes, it's all very sad. I'm sure they toss and turn the night away on their beds of gold bars. Taxation and bureaucracy are simply the facts of managing a prosperous nation, of keeping our enemies at arm's length. How long would their precious mines keep producing without the king's protection?
Did you know, I heard this rebellion was prompted in part by a belief making the rounds in Deron Gould that the king himself is cursed.
Oh my! What exceptional nonsense!
Have they been breathing the fumes of their own minds?
All right, very amusing. But like Lady Virulin, I am not unsympathetic to our southern friends. Surely some of Isilbright's rules and dictums could be culled, especially if it means avoiding war. A much more costly proposition than losing a handful of coin in taxes.
Wise counsel, my friend, but I fear the time for compromise is already past. The message from Deron Gould was deliberately provocative, leaving the king no way to negotiate or save face. The time has come, lords and ladies, for us to commit our forces and our purses to our rightful liege and crush Deron Gould. Or throw in with the rebels. They have the gold, they have a well-trained army, and most importantly, they control the mines. In a conflict of any significant length, having control of the source of the kingdom's metals means they must only outlast the North, rather than outright defeat her.
Yuve, what is your opinion on recent developments?
Here we go.
You're asking the errand boy? What does...
Kindly do not interrupt me while sitting at my table, Lady Larenthal. Well, speak up.
Okay, peaceful solution must always be best, especially if the only point of contention is money. Whether or not Daron Gold has legitimate grievances is beside the point. They must be crushed. To do otherwise will invite rebellion. Since I have little experience in political matters, for me, the wisest course is silence. No, I'm going to go with the peaceful solution.
Very noble of you. I agree that the value of gold must be held cheap against the value of doing the honorable thing.
My ladies, my lords, we are under attack. Please take shelter at once. Perhaps the cellar. You may wish to arm yourselves, my lords.
Under attack by whom?
They make no secret of their allegiance. They fly the banners of Daron Gould.
Did you see anything else? Do we know who leads them?
That one was far at the back. All I could see of him was his vibrant red hair like a flame.
Not like my characters, surely.
Aldenar.
Too little, I'm afraid. Their numbers are overwhelming. We were forced to fall back to the main gate, and they're already...
Surely they will listen to reason, wherever they're from.
They won't kill us out of hand like so many soldiers. They wouldn't dare. Right?
Calmly, my friends. Let's all go out to meet them. They're not bandits after all.
Yes, go ahead. You have my blessing to speak on my behalf if it's of any use.
You? What? Where are you going?
Come with me. Make haste.
You can't be serious.
You and you lot with me. The main gate has already been breached. The House of Espen is about to fall to the agents of Daron Gould. Now, never mind that. Just follow. And you, prepare whatever spells you know. Surely your magical tutoring must be good for something. Gods know it cost enough.
Okay, it's a little hard to follow because there's no way to center the camera. At least I haven't found that yet. Can we move that up? Yeah, you can see enough of that below. Maybe we can do that so we can still see the buttons up there. Oh, look, quick save. Why is the game paused?
What a waste of time.
Oh, because there are enemies approaching. Snowball at the archer, I think. Oops. There is a mage right there. What can I do with the stone wall? Okay, she ran around it. Okay, that didn't last very long. Still don't know why I've got all of these abilities. And I'm not multi-classed. Obviously ran out of spells to cast for the moment. Or what have you. So I suppose my best chance is to come in here and And beat this mage senseless. I'm definitely starting to feel like maybe a...
If I must.
Maybe a sling would have been a better option to start. And there's a sling. Ooh. And that's a magic staff. Can I equip that sling? There is a second... No, there is not a second weapon slot, I think. That staff is unidentified. It will be good to find out what that is.
Ho ho!
Do I have any spells back? No. They memorize their elevated energy. I don't understand the difference, but it looks like I had 2 snowballs and that for the day, maybe? So I did potentially use all my spells early. Well, it has pause. It's a real time with pause, and that's what I've been doing. There is a whole bunch of pause settings, and I've turned them all on. So character death, combat start, trap, ability finishing, enemy death, character low health, enemy spotted. It's not so... I mean, it is... Yeah, it's not great at the moment, but I'm doing the best I can to manage it. I'm not a big... As you know, I'm not a big fan of these real-time with pause games, even though I've played a lot of them over the years. We want to... See, here's the thing. I don't know if it's a good idea to be bothering searching the bodies.
All right.
Not
now
from...
Listen to me. Listen closely. This is important. For Lady Espen was the love of my life. My one love. There was nothing arranged about our betrothal.
So, what was I going to say? Damn it, I can't think what I was going to say now. Oh. Kind of be important. Sounds like the fight is coming. Perhaps we best ready ourselves.
You were never so lucky as to meet her yourself. But if you had, she... Gods damn these Deronguld swine! Behind me is my dressing chamber. Go fetch my sword from there.
At once.
Very well.
Yeah, what I was going to say. So, greed is the problem in this game that you're trying to overcome, is my understanding of it.
Found you at last, Father.
So, one of the reasons...
hide from your fate.
One of the reasons I decided to play this game, after originally saying I wasn't interested in it, is this interesting take of, if I search every body that I find, and if I search, like, walking through a house, and I search every container, and I take stuff out of all of them, does that increase the overall greed in the world? Because I'm taking things. That's greed, right? And that's where I'm going to... I want to see what happens. I don't want to loot every... Well, maybe I do want to loot bodies that I find, but I'm not going to open up every container that's just sitting around. If it's like a bandit hideout, I don't have a problem looting that. But if I'm just in some random building, like if we take the first quest from Pathfinder Kingmaker, where you're in the Baron's palace and you run around in there, you're opening up cupboards and everything everywhere and just grabbing whatever's out of all of that. And yes, there is one dialogue option that you can get at the end of the fight where the Baroness does talk about, well, what's his name? The bad guy from Patax, the little gnome. He tries to say that you were bad because you went and took weapons from the armory, despite the fact that, you know, he's the one who actually suggested that we do that. And if you take the money from the chest to keep it safe or whatever, he dobs you in for that as well. And depending on how those status checks goes with combat, the dialogue options that you do, the Baroness can get a little bit upset with the fact that you were looting, you know, even though you said you were looking for weapons to help defend the castle. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's a mechanic in this game. Like, that if I just loot everything like my little goblin loot fiend brain wants me to, whether that's going to make it worse for me or not. Okay.
To be betrayed by my own son, who wouldn't hide from such a terrible end.
I've learned a few things, you see. Things your priests and men-at-arms could never teach. I have gained a new perspective, seen the truth of this world.
So, you were not even paid in coin to turn traitor against your own house. Only pretty words. Kill me if you wish, but I promise it will avail you nothing. Every man pays for his sins, my son, and the price of a sin such as this, well...
Enough of your piety! It sickens me. But your last decision, at least, is the correct one. Hold still, Father.
An off-screen death. All right.
Don't worry, my child. Your hardships are over for today.
Okay. Crone's Cottage.
Get up, lazy boy. It's time to go to bed.
Get up, it's time to go to bed. That doesn't make any sense. And this is something else I noticed from... As I said, this is as far as I've seen in the game, right? To here. But one thing I did notice is that there is some situations where some lines are voice acted and others aren't. And that seems a little weird to me. Speak for yourself, you're the one lying in mouse droppings in a hut in the forest. Okay, but why am I in your hut? I brought you here.
But no more questions for tonight. There's a cot over there. You should try to get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow will be a very, very long day.
You press the rest button. Go.
Wake up, lazy. Always sleeping, this one. Must have been raised by dream wraiths.
What are dream wraiths? Oh, I'd rather not explain, and you'd rather not know. You'll find out later if you do what you should anyway. Speaking of which...
Now, how about you make yourself useful and weed the garden?
I have some questions before I give you any help. I'll ask you questions, but I can't guarantee... How did I end up here, really? Well, if you must know, you're about to die, so I'll whisk you away to my little hideaway in the forest. And would you believe it? Now you're not about to die. Did you know Lord Espen? Yes, as after a manner of speaking on you, I'm a good man but a bad father. Get that look off your face. His own son killed him. He can't have been much of a patriarch. Who are you? Just an old witch who likes her privacy. My liege was killed by his own son, Aldenar. Busy hands will dry your tears, boy. Now, I'll be making a stew this evening. You'll be helping. I need you to go find some things
Take a
for
look
this.
at this list. Once you've read it, let me know, please.
Okay. Gather the following. Handful of bruise root, 1 brown stem mushroom, a slab of fox meat. Alright. Identify. Brilliant sapphire staff. Adept wizards often experiment with designing or even crafting their own magic staff. Students of the Wardenhaft Academy are taught how to do so during their senior years specifically. These staff take various forms. Some wizards prefer a natural, unrefined look, while some go for a meticulously crafted artificial style. That's not really telling me much. Hang on. Let's put... Oh, now I can put something in as a backup weapon. Can we compare those two? Weight, price, base damage, 1 to 6, 1 to 7. So 0.5 on average more. Attack time is 4 seconds, range 1.5. Focus 2 on the new one. No learning bonus. And the parry chance is the same. But it did have, there was... So that one didn't have anything basic except for an improvement to learning chance. But this one grants 1 base spell slot, level 1, and 1 level 2. So I definitely feel like that is the better staff to be using. So... So I had more spells I could memorize that I didn't learn. It would have been nice to have been able to do that before resting. I don't know what the difference between these elevated energy spells is. And the base energy spells. There's no information.
You can't be serious.
What is that? Light leather armor. Technically, I could wear that. Infusion of berry juice recipe. Potion of cure all and a potion of healing. Where was the game information? Let's quick save. That is a good idea. Main quest guidance. I don't know why these are here. That's really got me stumped. Inventory, spellbook, map. Attack, stop, select full party, interact. Is there a key for that? Back quote. It's that one, I think. Operations. Ah, here we go. So the main quest, the side quest, the journal, the compendium, and the greed. Oh. Why would you have... I would have generous on that side and greedy on that side. The greed level is... Oh, that's pointing out that way. Yeah, see, that's confusing because you've got... I still would have generous on that side, greedy on that side, because that is going up as the greed in the world goes up. Greed level is faint. The curse of greed currently affects the world of Erangel faintly. It can barely be felt, but those with a keen scent might start to feel its effects. Cost of living on the rise throughout Erangel, and albeit ever so slightly, some can feel the winds of change. Okay, we gotta go out. Sorry, I didn't see the hydrate there. Why am I not able to get out the door? I need to talk to her more.
Oh, good, good. You know how to read. I have something that will help you gather what we need without hurting yourself too much. Here, put these on.
Gardening gloves. Alright. So they give me increase to brewing and drying. Alright. I can see that. Can I leave now? There we go. What the? I thought I did that earlier. Tell you what, if it's going to keep resetting everything, I wish I had a light spell. I really do. Can I get rid of those?
You can't be serious.
Don't understand why those are there. Really don't.
Yes.
Greetings, fellow traveller. I am Volunteer. Please forgive me if I seem confused. I am not well just now. The Druidic Order sent me to heal this forest. There is an invasive species of spider I need to cleanse, but they have unfortunately got the better of me. I've been severely bitten and they are venomous as well. I cannot continue. I considered approaching the cabin, but I was repulsed. Yellow spiders are destroying the natural balance in this area. I am too weak to fight them now, but perhaps you could finish this work on my behalf. Tell me more about these awful spiders. Different chapters of my order have been reporting a disturbing trend in Yerengal's forests. New and previously unknown species are moving in and mindlessly devouring and destroying our natural resources. Normally I would say that greed is a concept unknown to such simple creatures, but the coordinated manner in which they are driving out the local fauna and hoarding food and territory to no purpose strongly suggests this is the motivator. They must be driven out before the damage becomes irreparable. Sure. Thank you for serving the Green Mother. There are 4 places in the forest, and the infestation is the thickest, a colony to the north and south, another bunch near a conspicuous bush, also to the south, and one by the old bridge to the west.
What a waste of time.
My taking those things out of that did not increase the greed in the world. I can't go any further north. Oh, I can go any further north, but that's... Open the map to find the ingredients requested. Spider colony, spider colony. Well, it's not showing the ingredients, probably because let's not show completed quests. Same there. It's unclear Yeah, it's not showing on the map where these other areas are.
If I must.
That looks like some of the spiders there, but I've got to remember I've got very limited spell slots. That kill it? Yellow spider dies. Very good.
Ha ha!
There'll be times like these that I'll kind of wish... Uh-oh. I've been poisoned. I believe... Potion of Cure-All. What does the infusion of berry juice do? Let's drink one of those. That says fortified. Am I still poisoned? No, I am fortified. Right, what does the berry juice do? Oh, I didn't read it properly. I am healing. Okay, so I'm assuming that means it's going to heal over time.
Right.
Yeah. White Writher. Moon Glider. The spider down here. Why can I not attack? It will not let me attack the spider. There we go. And then there's a fox there. Sorry, Mr. Fox, but this crazy old witch wants me to get a slab of fox meat. And there's two of them there.
Ah, very well.
What's in that? Ruse root. I don't think that was one of the ingredients I needed, but... oh no, handful of bruise root, okay. And a brown stem mushroom. So, brown stem mushroom. There are other spiders over this way. What is that? Spider colony. No, that spider colony is dead, maybe? Let's take all. Yes. What is it with that tree? Is that supposed to be something to do with the spider colony? There's another spider over there. Doesn't seem like one of the bad spiders. If I'm
Down with
honest.
you, down!
I thought the bad ones were yellow.
Stop that, I'm frail! You can't be serious.
Turn that off. Is there a... No, there isn't. And the other lot of
What
spiders.
a waste of time.
Yeah, there they are.
Ready yourself for the next world.
There we go. So we're looking for old stump, conspicuous bush. Oh, there's another spider over this way, and mushrooms. Oh, there's 3 spiders over here, and I don't have any more heal potions, so hopefully. How about zap you?
Don't you dare get blood on me.
Wow, did all of that without getting injured. That was really good. And that's the mushrooms that I want.
Very well.
But there's a conspicuous stump over here. And more of the mushrooms. Another spider colony there. Is that the second spider colony that I got? I think it was, because I can't scroll any further over in that direction. So where's the last spider colony then? Agatha's Weevil. That's just a standard forest spider. That's not a problem.
Well, all right.
Oh, all right. So I guess it's over. There was something about a bridge. Oh, it says I've slain them all. I've slain the lone spider by the bridge. Okay. We've done everything.
Hello.
The yellow spiders, are they all slain? Yes. Thank you for your help. I need more time to recuperate, but I believe I will recover eventually. Take this antidote. I had more than I need already. Now that the spiders are gone, you will make better use of it, I'm sure. Thank you. Here you are then, and thank you. Now that my mission is completed, I shall leave to report this great success. And we just got a level, I think. I probably should not have accepted that from him. I should have let him keep that because somehow the greed level has gone to 56. It would be interesting to retry that. Oh, we have 1 point. Okay, you can spend points to improve your character's general skills. You can add or remove points from skills using the arrows to fire to the right of their names. Wizard characters can also spend points on new spells. I will take a point in bargaining and persuasion, I think, even though I was sort of against that previously. Magical warding, start off with. And slings and fustaballs. I don't get anything for spells. Except your character is capable of learning, memorizing, and casting spells. Spells need to be memorized before they're cast. You can open your spell book. There we go. 1 more of those. Yep, I know all about that. Thank you. I figured that out on my own. Aren't I smart?
If I must. You can't be serious.
Good. You put your gloves on just like the rest of us. All fingers at the same time. You weren't trying to put them on one finger at a time, were you?
Ah, look at yourself. What a diligent hero you are. Didn't even need the stuff I was going to give you for protection. Here, take it anyway. Let's see about that harvest. It's all there. Yes, perfect. Well, I would ask how you can tell what's in my pack and what isn't, but I'm holding the staff in my hand. Oh, no, she's looking at the other stuff. Let's say I have a feeling like everything is where it should be. Or if it's easy to accept, I spent many long days sniffing around, so my nose knows. Now that I've more questions about what's going on. No, let's get the pot boiling first, and then...
What's this? Did you forget to make these herbs edible, child? Come now, you must dry them to bring out the flavor. Surely you've cooked before. I have to wonder what that Lord Espen even had your tutors teach you at his fancy estate. Oh, well, take this candle and get to drying.
Various materials in the world can serve as ingredients for crafting. Plants, mushrooms, fruits, and insects can be brewed into potions or dried and crushed into powder. Besides the fresh material, you need tools to perform these actions. A cauldron for brewing and a heat source like candles or a lantern for drying. To begin drying, you first need to open your inventory. Select the drying tab to browse the ingredients. You can see your collection. Click and move them into the highlighted drying slots. And then I put the heat source down there. Start drying. Okay. Ingredients are now dried. Your candle has been consumed in the process. Lanterns, on the other hand, can be used indefinitely. Also enable the use of various heat sources. Click the start crushing. Crush them to powder. There we go. Collect. And we're done.
Good, well and dried. Give me just a moment and... There, it's on the fire. Now we have a few precious moments to spare. We should talk. About talking.
Talk about talking. What do you mean? You're trying to teach me something. Learning and research. Very good. I think you already have the hang of it, but in case that was a fluke, the idea is this. Taking the time and effort to gain knowledge, or even learning to talk, will benefit you greatly in the difficult times ahead. Pay close attention to what you might uncover in conversations through wit or charm. Thank you, that's a valuable lesson. Glad you find it to be. Now, I'm certain you have more questions. Perhaps I can continue being instructive. Why did you save me from assault on the Espen estate? I kept an eye on Lord Espen. He was a force of balance in Ismerald. His death means the balance has failed. It so happens that I have a soft spot for young people of potential. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I saw a chance to aid you. Who are you really? I'm afraid that's one question I can't answer for you. It's easiest to say that I'm someone you were meant to meet. I'm here to set you on your way towards what you might accomplish. What is it that I might accomplish? Pardon me, I misspoke. There are two questions I cannot answer for you. Is this... what is it keeping me here and making me do all of this? You weren't all ready for Aldenar's attack on your father's manor. On his father's manor. I don't believe you were ready for the chaos of the world as it was when I pulled you from it. You're here to keep you safe and to make sure that you're ready for the next calamity you find yourself in. Stew almost ready? Ah, yes, almost ready indeed.
Now, there's something you should know. When you leave here, the world you knew yesterday will be gone. The attack on the Espin estate was only the first spark of a consuming fire, I am afraid. Much will be lost to strife and war. There are worse things than war, though. There is something you must understand before you leave here. A great and terrible curse has fallen over Isilmarald and much of the rest of Erengal. It drives men and women to madness. It starves the prince and turns the pauper to a life of desperation. It is the essence of avarice itself. A curse of greed spreads through the land. A terrible covetousness that hides in mortal hearts. It is among the darkest of dreams. But this is no normal greed, no. There is magic behind it. No mere apprentice's cantrip either. It is most dangerous, and you must understand that. Ah, the stew is done now. Just let it cool.
Getting a look at you now, you're a bit of a magician, aren't you? I know a cantrip or two. A fair assessment of your abilities. Yes, you have much to learn. Let me get you started. Here, take this. It's a scroll containing a spell for you to learn. Give it a read. That is the fever spell. And I can scribe that. She also gave me this Traveler's Cane. Does that do anything? +1 to critical chance, but it's not much good for anything else. So we're not going to do anything with that. We'll keep the staff we've got. That light leather armor is technically way better protection than what we've currently got. I could wear it, but I don't think I will. What does fever do again? Yeah. Inflicts throbbing, toasting, and weak to the target. Physically... Okay, so throbbing increases resistance to strain and pain effects by 25%, so that means they'll probably take more damage. Increases resistance to heat effects by 25%. And physique is decreased by 2. Weapon damage dealt is decreased by 50%. Okay, that's not a bad debuff. Maybe I'll throw one of those in my learned spells. The character has spotted a trap. The magical perception skill can be used for wizards to find and disarm traps with magic components. To use your skill, open the skill bar, and magical perception. Click on the trap highlighted and your character will head towards it. I just did that. The game is paused. Very good. The freezing enchantment on the trap was but a mere nuisance. Other devices like it may not be so gentle. As a wizard, you'll be running across many peculiar things on your journeys. Some will mean you harm, but you have the senses to spot them in time. Ah, what was it we were... Oh, yes. Ah, you've done it. The stew is cooked and cooled. Be right back. Alrighty. Here, boy, this will warm you up after a long
I
day.
see that look in your eye again. No, no more questions for today. Eat your stew and get some rest.
There we go, rest.
Good morning. I fear that our time together is nearing an end.
Thank you for all your help. Oh no, it is no great thing. I need to be certain you are ready to face the world. What is going on out in the world that I need to be ready for? Oh, conflict is to be expected everywhere you go. Great things are coming. More I cannot say. But does that mean I'm ready? Oh, yes, yes. As ready as one can be. Is that all?
Yes,
Yes.
that is the gist of it. Things were put in motion all over Yerringel since I plucked you from your father's house.
Are you telling me that? Lord Esperin was your father? Yes, but I'm not even human. How can he be my father? Pardon, child, I don't wish to explain to you how babies are made. I trust you know, but your mother was indeed not a human. The deities of Yerringel were your mother's midwives. They had a purpose in mind for you, and you had to secure your safety so that you could live up to that purpose. You were born into a treacherous world, my dear. It was very important you not be recognized as Esperin's heir before the time was right. As the gods peered through the veil of the void, they saw that a Feldergug child is made for survival, possessing the fortitude to overcome hardships, both mental and physical. That is why you were formed so perfectly in the image of your mother. Okay. As well, the closely guarded secret of your mother's connection to Lord Esperin ensured your safety until now. We haven't time to go into the story in greater detail, but you are a true heir of Lord Esperin. Knowing this should be enough. Now, you understand why Lord Esperin paid you so much attention despite your servitude. The other servants surely did not receive the same education or the same favours, nor did anyone else in his family, excepting your half-brother Aldenar. Aldenar took away my only family. He did, and that is the world I must send you back into, one where the sole heir of Lord Esperin committed patricide, one unaware yet hostile to your existence. Thank you again for the sage advice. Now you must go face the world. I have enjoyed our time together. You will find the path
Be
clear.
safe, my child.
World greed grew by 50. Travel to Isilbright.
What a waste of time.
So, there's a travel exit there, or there's a travel exit there. I am in the hidden cabin there. Where is Isilbright? There are no names. On the map. One thing is sending me this way and the other one is sending me that way. So I don't know
You can't be serious.
which one to take. How do I exit? Oh, there we go. Merchants Road. Okay. Oh, of course it's raining. Why
You can't
wouldn't it
be
be?
serious.
Okay, I'm assuming that that's where we're going. Ooh. Burning caravan. Metal-plated greaves. Chainmail halberd. I'll take the candle because that can be used some things. Two portions of cassie into a cauldron, let them infuse for 8 hours. Oh, I have 2 portions. What do you know?
What a waste of time.
I'm just not sure if I should be taking this gear that I find or not. Let's see what happens. There's a guard there that's still alive. That's a dwarf by the looks. Why am I walking slow? I've hit a key combination I didn't mean to. Keeps resetting that. That's annoying. You know, controls. There was a fast mode, and there was, where was the walk thing? Left, shift, and click. Okay. So is it because I'm not in
If I must.
fast mode? Yeah, that's all it was.
I'm listening. The sorry sight it is. Puh.
Do you have some part in this?
No, the wars of men are none of mine. Praise the stone. I am Helgenhar. Call me Helg if that's too much of a mouthful.
You know why they were fighting?
Is that a serious question? Even a league beneath the Skag Mountains, everyone knows of the war.
Soldiering is a messy business, and I'm glad to have no part of it. Don't be so sure, we may all be dragged into this before the end.
Anyway, this was one of the smaller battles between the Silbright and Derenguld.
Why don't we walk this road together? I was thinking the same thing myself, but by both habit and predilection, I'm always careful of my companions. Tell me, what brings you out on this desolate road alone? Sure, tell him my story.
Wow, that's quite a tale. If I was a bard, I'd be taking notes right now. Huh. It stands to reason that with your father dead, you are the heir to his estate.
I'm not quite sure what I should do about the estate. You need to lay claim to it yourself. No one is going to walk up and hand it to you. If only there was somewhere all of my questions could be resolved.
This is the road to Isilbright, you know. Capital of Isilmaril, and also the world capital of noble titles.
The city's Hall of Records boasts the largest collection of histories in Yarrangal. I myself am planning to visit to research some family matters. You would be wise to do the same. Seems as good a place as any to go. Care to join me?
Excellent! Onwards to Isilbright!
While having one of your companions selected, you can use the interact button to initiate a conversation with them. You can learn more about the backgrounds. Yep, cool. He has a level.
I'm listening.
Warhammers, battle axes, bows, and arrows. I'm pretty sure he... Actually, I don't know. Oh, points available 5. Hang on. Yep. I do want to cancel that. So what gear does he have? He has a keen battle axe, a wooden heater shield, a medium shield, and a cuirass. What happened to all the inventory that I have?
Yes.
Chainmail halberd, is that... Can I give that to...
What do you need?
Chainmail halberd is not as good as his thing, and the metal-plated boots are better. Let's swap those out. So he's using a keen battle axe and shield, so that means if I'm going to level him up...
Whatever you say.
I'm going to go battle axes and really push it.
I'm not going to like this, am I? I don't see why not.
Select the group.
Well, alright.
Wow, he moves a lot faster than I do for some reason. I thought dwarves were made for long distance, not sprinting.
Hello?
Good day, kind sir. On your way to Isilbride, I warrant. A wise choice given the circumstances. Been several days since I fled Deron Gold. I was already doubtful of our chances against Isilbride before the War Council decided to make its move. When the plague struck, I grew certain I was on the wrong side. What plague? How can you not have heard? Have you been living at the bottom of the sea? Deron Gold declared war on Isilbride a few days back and has already gained a foothold in the south of the kingdom. Militarily, it was quite the feat, but a terrible illness began to rage across the city almost immediately thereafter. Citizens had been taken to their beds several weeks before, but no one thought it was serious. Now they've begun taking to their graves, and in the dozens. I took that as a sign to leave town. Don't you go calling me a coward. A merchant has no true home anyway. That's how I look at it. And, you know, I managed to bring some of my wares with me from Deron Gold. Care to take a look? Do you know anything about the raid by Deron Gold on the Esperin estate? Happened a few days back. Yes, I heard something about that, but I was preparing to leave Deron Gold at the time and didn't pay much attention. If you're interested, you should try your luck at Isilbride, just ahead. In fact, it's probably the best place in Yarngol to find what you're looking for. Have you heard of the Hall of Records? It houses the greatest collection of written histories, poetry and natural science in Yarngol. I'm sure the scholars who study there can fill you in on recent important events. What do you have to offer? Goods for travellers mostly. I used to deal in weapons too, but that stock I was able to get more quickly back in Deron Gold when war was declared. Not to worry, I intend to put out feelers in Isilbride and rebuild my business post-haste. Until then, feel free to browse what I have. I'm sure you'll find something to your liking. Browsing a merchant's inventory, you can see their stock on the left side of the screen, while your selected character on the right. You can switch between party members' inventories using the drop-down on the right. You can also filter the merchant's stock using the categories. Try using the all filter to display all items. Multiple items can be selected by clicking them while holding the control key. Okay. So I can't sell everything to him. Yeah, I don't want to sell all of that. I wanted to sell those arms, but I can't. How much money? I have 27 gold. I can't afford a single thing he's got. I could sell this powder of annoyance. I don't want that. That gives me 80 gold. Still not enough to buy anything. Ah, right, no. I didn't realise he didn't have all done. Very good. Okay, let's sell the animal pelt. I'm not sure I really want. Okay, animal pelt, the chainmail. So, oh, I've still got more. It won't scroll properly. Oh, there it goes. I don't want the Traveller's Cane. Don't want that. Metal-plated grease. I wish this would go away. I know what it's there for, but it's covering stuff up. I already know that berry juice recipe. I have fox meat I don't want. Let's sell all of that. Now, what do you have? You have a shepherd's sling. I've already got a sling, so that's okay. Hang on. He has that to sell as well. So he's not going to want any of that. Or... Okay, greaves are considered accessories, not armors. We might as well sell the boots. What do I want? Mostly just healing, I think. It's got 4 of them. Let's buy all of those. Yeah, I think that'll do us.
Ah, very well.
Yeah.
Well, all right. You can't be serious.
There we go. Formations. Can I create my own formation? How do I edit that formation? What we got? Rest, pause, fast mode, quick save, settings, guidance, inventory, character sheet, party sheet. There we go. Formations and behavior. Oh, and behavior. Combat. Eleanor will be defensive. Do not use any consumables in battle. I'm going to use potions. No, passive. Spell and ability use. I want passive. Area effects cautious. That's me. But for this guy, though, I want him to be... aggressive. Use potions. He's going to be my tank.
What a waste of time.
Is there a selected thing around that? Adventurer, adventurer, adventurer? Interesting. I might talk to them on the way back. Nothing much around here.
Yes.
Trying to find out what happened to Lord Esperin. Have you heard of him? Okay, they're not going to have much help. That's fine.
If I must.
Stand to there. What's your business in the capital? Not a merchant by the looks of it. Ooh. Come to apprentice at a school of wizardry. If I say that... Another spell slinger. Excuse me, but not all wizards. Spare me, please. Just go on in. Right. Ooh, Market Street. Brilliant sleight of hand. Baramill? I reckon Lord Markham still doesn't know he's lighter by the weight of one fancy bracelet. And that, my friend, is why we love the Southern Shore. Drunken nobles all day long. Only a few more taps like that one and we'll get some proper treatment for Crag. Someone's coming, I think. What a prosperous moment for you to walk into our lives. Winsome Stranger, my friend, and I are collecting a small fee for everyone entering the city. A pittance, really. 50 gold. Your friend there seems perfectly healthy to me, other than being falling down drunk. If you wait a while, I'm sure he'll sober up nicely. Now, how about you let me by? Just look at this stumbling wretch. He's not just drunk, he looks like one of the undead. Now, pay up or things will go badly for you. Did I hear you? Let's try this. Very well. We tried to push, but I suppose we could try again. Give it here. Come, fellas. Let's pick somewhere quiet and get this in Crag's belly if there's room. Managed to do it without having to fight anybody.
Yes.
I'm listening.
I'm not going to like
Go
this,
ahead.
am I?
Find the southern shore on Greybark Square. Am I supposed to initiate a conversation with him? Okay. Talked enough for now. There we go. That got rid of that. Tobard's Anvil. We're looking for southern shore on Greybark Square. Look at Haggle. Squalid House. Full of Alvernus. Great Bath. I don't... Come on, game. You're telling me to do one thing and then you give me absolutely no information
I don't see why not.
about how to do it. Oh.
You can't be serious.
I think it really matters, to be honest. So that's... I think we're better off just heading to the Crooked Haggler for the moment. Maybe the general store. That looks like it's a weapons place. Is there actually a clock here so I know what time of day it is? Day 3, hour 0. So it's midnight. Right. Guards are... So the shop shouldn't be open. So let's not worry about it. Let's just go to the tavern. Renica. Took us so long. Surely the great Jalo must be better than things to do than skulk around a tavern. You know the nobles in there must be fawning all over her. Wouldn't you take your time if you were in her slippers? Please, she's nothing but a upstart student with an unusually large portion of luck. Anyway, noble blood doesn't automatically grant a person noble taste. If they had any taste at all, they'd be slobbering over the real prize out here on the... Oh, still your tongue, will you? Or I'll cast chattering. I'm still baffled that Lord Tripe could ever fall for that tramp. Right, perhaps, but Lord Fiffin? Unbelievable. Oh, there's a troll golem. Right. Off-duty soldiers. Drunkard.
What a waste of time.
Head on in.
You can't be serious.
Drunken Sellsword, Lord Smedrick, Lord Biffin, Jala, Lord Tripe.
Yes?
Take a seat. What can I get you today? What can you tell me about this place? Ah, you must be new here, surely. This is the Crooked Haggler. Finest inn you can find in Iselbright. Mead is cold, beds are soft. The patrons, well, the patrons are a bit more stuck up and a bit less likely to stab you in the chest than other places. I don't want to rent a room just yet. If I were to ask, if any were to ask, I would compare Lady Bajala's exquisite presence to the light of dawn. I would even compare Lady Bajala's lovely visage to anything so harsh as that. I think the reflections of moonlight on a still pond is more apt.
My lords are too kind, but you know, I'm finding it a titch stuffy in here. I believe I will step out for some air.
Let me fan you, my lady. I too carry a fan for such occasions. Mine is fashioned from pheasant. But dirty wild creatures are pheasants. My fan is fashioned from peacock feathers. Step aside, paupers. My fan is crafted from the feathers of the legendary phoenix. In summers it cools thee, and in winters it warms.
Really, my lords, I have a needlepoint back at my apartments that I'm most eager to complete. If you'll excuse me.
Nonsense, Lady Bajala. I cannot go an hour longer without you choosing me over these two scoundrels. I cannot wait another minute until you select me over these two vagabonds. A second me nincompoops. What a spectacle these men make of themselves. A dwarf woman would know how to handle such a situation. A gentle rap on the temple with the backside of an axe. Let's see if we can help her out.
Yes? Lord Smedrick, as much as your poetry is alarmingly metaphorical, I still must insist that you speak to no one regarding your thoughts on my resemblance to a flower bud ready to open.
Every so often, the Lady Bajala makes a gesture for a cantrip, which requires a single word to complete, but you cannot finish without giving yourself away. I know what's needed here. Prodigy. Lord Smedrick, your hair is on fire. What? That's rather spoiled the mood, I'm afraid. And he leaves as well.
That was neatly done. Who do I have to thank for my rescue?
Coral.
I am the Lady Biola of the Feldagug, darling of the court and spellweaver extraordinaire. But of course, you know all that.
I can't say that I do. Honestly, don't know me. How delightful. I'm so tired of the endless legions of fawning earls and viscounts and hangers-on. I can hardly walk down the street here without tripping over them. And if you don't know me, you must be new to Iselbright. Doubly delightful. Well, I am very pleased to meet you. What brings you to the capital? I'm trying to learn more about Lord Espen, who was killed recently at his estate by the forces from Deron Gold. Ah, what luck. The disposition of nodal titles is practically a second career of mine. You must allow me to accompany you. I will make sure you find what you wish to know, and thereby repay the good turn you've done me disposing of those wasted parasites. That seems fair. Then we're agreed. I suggest we try the palace first, or the Hall of Records. So, that means I've got another Feldagug. Yes. She's a spellweaver rather than a...
Yes.
A winter mage. It does sort of make me wish I had played a ranger after all now. Because knowing that I get a mage into the party so early, what does she have in her spellbook? Erosive Bolt, Fever, and Summon Spider. And she has, whoa, a lot of those. And then Elevated Energy, she just has Stonewall. Why don't you have an extra one of those and an extra one of those? Yes. Decisions. Why didn't I buy insurance? Yeah, I'm going to leave this stream here for now. Let me do a save. And new game. I can't remember the name of the cabin. Will do. I'm going to be back in a little while. I'm going to go and get a bite to eat. And then I'll be back and we'll stream some more. And we might restart as a ranger. Even though I said I was a little bit disappointed in the ranger class, I'm already feeling like I've got two characters that have come fairly quickly into my group. And with one of them being a mage, that's really good. I feel that's a good thing to happen. So I'm going to keep this save, and hopefully we can come back to it if we want to. But I want to restart and play a little bit differently. So we might do a ranger. We are going to, of course, concentrate on bow, but we're probably also going to have two-handed sword or something else. And yeah. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you're enjoying this. Look, it's not the perfect game. I see a lot that could be done to make this better. There's a lot of stuff. And it's obvious that this is a fairly small publishing house or development house that has built this. Just little polishing things like, you know, in the first scene when there were all the lords around the table, none of them were sitting down. So they didn't animate all of that. The fact that, you know, certain portions of the dialogue are not voice acted when others are. Either do them all or don't do them all, you know. Or make sure that all of one specific thing is done. Don't have the first line voice acted, the second line not, the third line voice acted, because we had cases like that where there wasn't even choices that I had to make in between. There was just missing little dialogue clumps. But, you know, I'm willing to forgive a lot of that sort of stuff. The controls need a little bit of work in the game as well. I'd like an option to automatically have the camera follow, rather than me having to move the camera around when I move these people. And in some cases, the directions of what I'm supposed to be doing is a little vague. But we're getting there. I'm learning the system, and it's not too bad. I'm really annoyed that this thing doesn't remember its place. I don't know if there's something I'm supposed to do to pin it, or what the deal is, but it just doesn't. I would like it to stay up there, because that's where I want it to be, and it's not. But anyway, we're going to come back in probably about an hour, and we'll be back into it, and probably restarting as a ranger, unless I vastly change my mind while I'm having a bite to eat. We'll see. Thank you for joining me, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.